2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Me, Stu, Xander, Perloff all want to destroy the Carson Wentz poster.
Nope. Uh-oh.
And it turns out now someone's trying to throw dirt in our eyes.
Not someone. From day one, this is my poster. I do not want to see it destroyed.
Perloff is talking about doubling down and not just making this a Carson Wentz poster, but a Carson corner. We can't do it, guys. Please.
Part of me is intrigued as to what's going to go into the Carson corner.
No, don't do Sam.
No.
I never thought of calling it the Carson corner, but now I'm into it.
Do you understand what kind of bad mojo that's going to bring to this studio?
I think it should open up to other Carsons as well. Carson corner is going to be amazing.
Stop.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Yeah, we are. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We're across the country on our amazing CBS Sports Radio affiliates. You want to watch the show? Come on in. Say hi to the Weedos in the chat at youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. While everybody in the world is getting excited about this new freakish athlete, Victor Wembanyama, getting drafted tonight, #1 overall, Perloff is already being negative about this.
You mean Wembanyama? Is that who you're talking about?
Jeez.
Oh, my God. Maggie, every time I turn on my TV, I see this one play where the dude shoots a three-pointer, it misses, it bounces off the rim, and he dunks his own follow-up. So, and then I hear a bunch of analysts, this is their whole Victor Wembanyama experience, is this one play. Be like, how many players in the NBA are there can miss a three and dunk their own follow-up? And I've seen the highlight a million times. So I looked into the numbers. I'm like, man, this guy must have really dominated. He shot 47% from the field, and dude's 7'5" in Europe. I could shoot 47%. I mean, Europe is famously soft on defense.
Yeah.
So everyone's been talking about he's a 27.5% three-point shooter. Terrible. So he's not really a three-point shooter.
But again, he's 7'5".
But why? Okay, so 27% is terrible. It's not good. And then he's only 47% from the field. What is that? That's unbelievable. I would have thought he's 60 at least.
What'd you call him? Wembanyama?
Wembanyama.
That's not right. That's being too harsh. But
he's tall, Nick Claxton. I don't understand what.
No one even knows who Nick Claxton is.
the Nets center. Yeah, I mean, or he's skinny Roy Hibbert. Help me out here. I stole that one off Twitter, by the way. But
skinny Roy Hibbert. This is not exactly setting a high bar. But
show me another 7'5" guy who's worked out. It's rare. It's hard.
I think that there are some things that are stacked against this young man, right? Now, he's been waiting for this. He's been basically bred for this ever since he was 12 years old. He's now dedicating his life to making it to the NBA. He's got charisma. He speaks perfect English. Yeah. He's going to get along fabulously, I think, in the NBA. I don't think we have to worry about culture shock. I don't think we have to worry about him adjusting. He's wise beyond his years. However, I think him being in San Antonio, is he going to take the league by storm? Maybe we got to pump the brakes on that. They're going to bring him along so slowly. It's going to be agonizing. And they're going to build him up and build him up and build him up because they don't want to ruin or perceive to ruin what could be a true unicorn, which we throw that term around quite a bit, but he really has a chance.
You just said he has a good personality.
I did.
You literally said, he's a good personality. You know, okay, I'm going to go way back in the time machine. There was a young man named Sean Bradley who was too skinny to play in the NBA. And all I saw were these features when he went to Australia and he's so cosmopolitan and he's got such a great work ethic. Such a good dude. He's going to love everyone in the NBA is going to love him. And all that was true. But guess what? He was too skinny and he couldn't play. And he got pushed around for his whole 15-year career. I just do not see this exactly working on everyone. People are talking about him like he's the next Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the next LeBron.
Okay, but
this is so speculative because there's never been a skinny guy like this at 7'5" who's dominated.
Okay, I'm reading the scouting report on The Athletic, and I'm going to give you this sentence. Wembanyama is the highest upside prospect to enter the NBA since LeBron James.
Okay, by the way, you've read multiple Athletic. I mean, basically, they're saying the entire 92 Dream Team is coming into this year's draft. Do they have anything except hyperbole?
They do weaknesses.
And the NBA draft industry is insane. You're going to watch the draft tonight, and you're going to think there's 24 All-Stars who are entering the NBA. They are out of their mind. And maybe since LeBron, okay, so he's better than Anthony Davis. He's better than, who else has entered the NBA? He's better than Nikola Jokic. He's better, I guess, prospect. But he's better than Joel Embiid. He's better than all these guys.
Listen, at least this guy, Wembanyama, not Wembustiama, as you called him, Wembanyama, at least he may give you a chance against a Jokic. I mean, maybe he gives you a chance, to play, to have a little bit of a return to size in this game after we've been seeing 6'2" and 6'3" and 6'4" guys come in and start dominating a little bit. Besides like Giannis.
We've had 6 straight MVPs who were centers. Giannis, Jokic, and Embiid.
Exactly. It's back. The big man's back.
It's back in the regular season. This is the first time it's actually that MVP's turned into finals. But
if Embiid could hold up
those
his
guys
end
are those guys right now, because he's so young, are going to push him around like crazy.
So that is a weakness.
What's his game, Maggie? Like where is he fit? Is he playing outside or inside?
He's got to play inside. Now, I'm not saying you got to be a back-to-the-basket guy. I think that went out the window a while ago. But I do think that he's got to be the inside guy. You're right. I mean, having him out there shooting threes, that's like a magic trick. I don't know if that's what I need.
Okay, as a tall, skinny person, when you don't want to get beat up by a bigger person, you stand outside and shoot threes. So I think the coaching staff's going to have an interesting challenge with him. He's not going to want to mix it up against these grown men. He's going to want to stay outside, and maybe he's good enough to make that work. I don't know. But I think he's going to shoot a lot of threes in San Antonio, and I think he's going to avoid the paint.
So here are the weaknesses, if you do want to know, from The Athletic. Few but not many, they say. A high center of gravity, which means he can be moved around a bit more often than you'd expect. So there you go.
A high center of gravity.
That's exactly what Perloff was saying.
He's going to get pushed around a little bit.
Oh, my
Obviously,
gosh.
he's 7'5" and he weighs 220 pounds. Think about those dimensions.
I remember that when I was in 9th grade and I got beat up by the big football players, I had a high center of gravity.
When they dumped you in the garbage can?
Yeah. Because I was 6'2" and I weighed 114 pounds. That was a high center of gravity. Oh my God.
How about this? He can sometimes get out leveraged and beaten by a guard who gets lower than he does, but he's excellent in recovery.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. Wait till he gets on a switch and he's covering John Morant. John's going to run by him so fast he won't even know what happened to him. But he will recover and block some shots. But that's not a formula that works anymore in the NBA. All right, what else? Anything else good in here?
These are more weaknesses. His shooting can also be a bit inconsistent. He goes through spurts where he just can't find the bucket. That's odd considering he's 7'5".
Yeah.
Considering he can touch the basket basically with standing flat foot.
Drop the ball in the basket. How could you shoot 47%?
Was there anything that you could do at 19 years old consistently?
By the way,
I mean,
also
That's
19.
true.
He had
I mean,
almost-
wake up for school, maybe.
I mean, I could barely drink
He
a
had
beer consistently. Falling all over. I have a drinking problem, falling all over my face, and it was no fun.
Yeah.
He had
Baby steps after.
3 turnovers a game, too. People have not mentioned he's sloppy with the ball.
Okay. All right. Well, according to The Athletic, all of this is fixable, and there's zero reason not to buy Wembanyama as a shooter long term. They also believe he'll get stronger in his lower half. See, this is the thing about the frame. We hear this a lot, in basketball. We hear it in football, too. How much muscle can he put on the frame? Same with Bryce Young. How much muscle can he put on the frame? Can he build up? Tua, how much muscle can he put on the frame? Mm-hmm. So Wembanyama right now looks like a clothes hanger. So how much muscle can he put on the frame?
Yeah, he's very, very interesting. I will give you this. I am very skeptical of all NBA draft talk now because he's 19, which is the norm. So that's why everyone's missing on draft picks because these guys are too young. They haven't played college basketball. The teams have no idea. And I watched Sean Bradley as a Sixer. It was my prime Sixers days, the 90s. And I was like, oh, man, he's going to get in the weight room and he's going to change the game. And it just never, ever happened.
Okay, but Sean Bradley, the game that he was playing, the era he was playing is not this era.
Okay.
That was you could clothesline guys, you could still get ridiculously, physical and brute. That's not the NBA right now. We're in more of a finesse game. I mean, listen, we talked about this before the show. He develops a hook shot. Good night. I mean,
no one's doing the sky hook.
No one's doing the sky hook anymore. But if he is that good and he can shoot, look at how Kevin Durant at 7. What's Durant? 7 feet, 7'1", and look at him as a shooter and how lethal that's been over the last 12, 15 years.
Okay. So now he's Kevin Durant.
I don't think his body is going to hold up. That's my issue. Chet Holmgren didn't even make it to the season.
I mean, listen, we're looking at on the screen here is Kristaps Porzingis, who's actually probably the closest thing.
Yeah.
He can't hold up, and he's probably 3 inches shorter than Wembanyama.
Yeah, he's 7'3".
Did I tell you what happened today, of course? The reason we're talking about the hook shot. I got cornered at a school event for my daughter. A guy, if you ever ran into this guy, the old guy, hey, why don't people just do the Kareem sky hook? It's the most unstoppable. He's like, forget the 3-point. He's like, forget the 3-pointers. If you just sky hooked on every play, you'd win every title. And he was so adamant about it. So why not?
Well, that's the question. Did he also corner you about our top 25 greatest athletes since 2000? I feel like this is the same guy.
He did, but then he went and everybody takes the 25 list of the greatest athletes and goes in some completely different direction and went on a huge rant on what a true athleticism is and why he said golfers are more mentally tough than any other kind of athlete. It went on a rant about that. I'm like, so you're going to put, are you going to put Phil Mickelson over Usain Bolt? And then he went on for another 20 minutes. Then he circled back to the sky hook.
Of course.
The sky hook.
Roads lead back to Wembanyama developing the sky hook.
How do you think Kareem became the all-time leading scorer? It was a sky hook.
We will get into the other big news in the NBA. Big trade. Celtics with a new look. As Perloff mentioned, Kristaps Porzingis now going to be joining the Celtics as Marcus Smart is going to go to the Grizzlies. So that's some interesting stuff. We also have Large and Parks in the chat against youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Andrew guarantee means the kid will be a big star. Are you the mush? That if you're guaranteeing Wembanyama is going to be a bust, then
put him out. I put everything on Twitter. Show me. Show me one bad take, Large and Parks.
All right.
Yeah.
Come for the king. You best not miss. 855-212-4CBS.
Was that wrong? I'm sorry. When I said Jason Tatum was the best player in that draft, was that wrong, Large and Parks? I know you're going to get mad on the...
What, on the Markelle Fultz?
No, I'd say Large just gets mad because if I say anything about him, then he... takes it very personally in the chat.
This is the Weedos and the Purple Drinkers. This is our life. 855-212-4CBS. If you have a thought on Wembanyama, we'll take it. We will also get into this the trade that we saw go down last night. Coming up next, this is big. We're now inside the top 10. Numbers 10 through 6 on the Maggie and Perloff top 25 greatest athletes since 2000. We reveal the next 5 athletes in just moments. Try to contain yourselves. It's Maggie and Perloff. Again, you can listen to us across the country on CBS Sports Radio. You can download the absolutely free and crystal clear Odyssey app. Listen to us that way. SiriusXM channel 158 and youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. We reveal 10 through 6 of the top 25 greatest athletes since 2000 next. Don't go anywhere.
You're enough. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. In moments, we are going to unveil our next 5 in the top 25 greatest athletes since 2000. But, as promised, draft day, and that means Woj bombs galore. Maggie, share the latest news.
Yep, Woj and Shams both dropping this one. So, California does know how to party. The Golden State Warriors are trading for Chris Paul. Chris Paul going to Golden State for Jordan Poole, a 2030 first-round pick, and a second-rounder in 2027. So Chris Paul was recently traded to the Wizards in the Bradley Beal deal that went from Phoenix to D.C. He doesn't even, ink's not even dry on that, and now he's flipped from D.C. to Golden State. Chris Paul with the Golden State Warriors, Jordan Poole now gone. Here are my immediate questions. Number one, what does this mean for Draymond Green? Draymond Green had opted out of his contract, Perloff. Obviously, he and Poole had friction because of the punch from preseason. On Jordan Poole's side, can you imagine you're the one who gets punched in the face and then you're the one who gets traded away? Doesn't seem fair. Poole was a bloated contract. What does this mean for Draymond coming back? That's number one. Number two question I have off of this is we're reacting in real time. Do you now think differently about whether or not the Warriors can rip off another title? Does Chris Paul do anything to change how you think about the Warriors and the extended dynasty?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you play the Lakers and you can't handle the Lakers size, and then if you'd advance past them, you would face the Nuggets, you can't handle that size. Why do we add a 38-year-old 5'11 guard? What are you talking about? He has no impact whatsoever. I don't understand this at all. Where's he even going to play?
What do you mean?
He's a backup point guard?
He's probably going to be like a yes, maybe he's backup point guard for most of the year because you want to save his minutes and you want to make sure he's fresh. And then if you're talking about crunch time, closing time in a playoff game, I bet Chris Paul's on the floor.
Well, if it really that situation, I'll bet you Chris Paul's on the bench in street clothes because that's the history of his entire career.
But if you could keep
if you're looking for postseason success, that's how I don't understand it. They need size desperately. I'm almost like, wait, are they going to move Chris Paul again? Because you have Steph Curry. You had Jordan. I don't know. I don't get it. And also, he's not a three-point shooter. He's more of a mid-range guy, which might be an interesting compliment to Steph. But obviously, this is not. There's got to be more coming for the Warriors, or they have no chance of getting out of the West.
There might be more coming. It's possible, but they all, I mean, listen, James Wiseman didn't pan out. That was really, I think, who they were hoping was going to be like the big size. So now they don't even have Draymond. I mean, they've talked so much about wanting Draymond back, and Draymond's not size. He's just a good defender, and he is de facto size for them. But they've Kevon Looney. Kevon Looney's the other.
I think the big borderline, Jonathan Kuminga, the young guy they got from G League Ignite, super tall, super athletic.
Yep.
I think they were hoping that he would start to step up. But if you look at the Warriors recently, almost every move they've made, the last 5 or 6 moves, Wiseman, they took number 2 overall, has not worked out. Kuminga has not really worked out. Moses Moody looks like he has talent. He was a first-round pick. Hasn't really worked out.
Well, he's so young.
Signing Jordan Poole, I know, but right, I'm speeding up. Signing Jordan Poole to a $125 million contract seems like a terrible idea. So it feels like they're on a real front office cold streak. And I don't know. I like Chris Paul a lot, but I don't know if this is like the answer to that cold streak.
I don't know if it is either, but this adds a very interesting element here because you had a sense probably that Chris Paul might have had a say in where he wanted to go.
Oh, sure.
And playing in California when his family is in L.A., it was either going to be the Clippers, Lakers, or it was going to be the Warriors. Now, that's the other side. Did the Lakers really want him?
Well, I see Chris Paul would be that's a team that I think could get more out of Chris Paul.
Well, is it the Lakers, or is that a Kyrie Irving destination? Or is Kyrie going to stay in Dallas? And then there's a lot of talk now and chatter on some, various podcasts and basketball insiders that, Kyrie stays in Dallas, Luka's in Dallas. Eventually, LeBron James joins them in Dallas along with Draymond Green. So there's just been a lot of things in the ether. If you listen to, Basketball Illuminati or Simmons or whatever, these are the people who are kind of positioning the Dallas Mavericks in an interesting way. Anyway,
back to Chris Paul for a second.
Yeah,
you have to admit, I think the natural first reaction to that is, well, he's so, that's not what they need necessarily because they have Steph Curry. Obviously, every team could use Chris Paul. He's getting older. But it has to be part of a bigger process or it doesn't totally make sense to me. Why give up that asset and not add size because you're in this really challenging Western Conference right now?
Okay, but as you mentioned, getting off the Poole contract and having to attach a draft pick to do it, getting off of that contract is paramount because the Warriors already were one of the most expensive teams in the league. This new CBA is designed to punish expensive teams, and you haven't even re-signed Draymond yet. And you haven't even made a decision on Klay Thompson yet.
I don't know how many more years would they have to pay Chris Paul. I would hope just one. He gets a ton of money, $230.
Chris Paul, I'm looking at it right now. Now, again, this is Spotrac, 2023-2024 season, partially guaranteed average salary, $30 million. Okay. I know it was $15.8 million guaranteed because they mentioned that the day that he got traded from Phoenix, it was like, well, you just made $15 million. On
top of the $15 million to push him up to 30.
No, you just got guaranteed $15 million as opposed to being waived or bought out.
Okay.
So
I think so. I think he's going to make the full 30 this year because of when they traded him.
I think he's going to end up making the full 30.
So, yeah, I mean, listen, here's the thing, too. Chris Paul is a player who he recently talked in interviews. He has a book out. He's doing interviews. I don't want to be like Charles Barkley where everyone says he had a great career, but he didn't win a title. So is this his opportunity to get over that hump?
Well, is this the best one? Like, is joining the Warriors the better opportunity than joining the Lakers or joining the Clippers?
What about the last team, too? It didn't seem like
Phoenix?
Who really could use a Chris Paul? The Phoenix Suns.
Well, Phoenix can't sign him now. I saw that was in the details that once they traded him, I don't think they can sign him back. I don't know why that was, but it was in the details.
It also seemed like Isaiah Thomas, who is the consultant to the owner in Phoenix, according to Chris Paul, didn't really want him around.
Yes, and that is always a bad idea if you're listening to Isaiah Thomas as a front office executive. Adam Powers is in the chat. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Golden State Warriors turning into the Olden State Warriors.
That's pretty good.
But ching, nice
That's
job.
That's a good dad joke.
Yep, that was solid. Coming in hot.
Is it a fair, if we were going to put up a poll question, would it be a fair question to say, does Chris Paul make the Warriors a favorite? Not a favorite in the West. Will this push them over the top to make them a champion? Because I think most people would say no. How would you word that? Like, what's the question there?
Yeah, I think the question is, does Chris Paul, give the Warriors the best chance to win another title? Something like it. We'll workshop that for the Twitter.
Yeah, because I'm curious.
Maggie and Pearl, by the way.
Yeah.
Twitter.
my initial reaction is no. It's not enough. It's got to be part of a bigger plan.
Man, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227 if you'd like to react to this big blockbuster trade. Also on the Wizards side of things, can I just mention this really quickly? So they unloaded Bradley Beal. They've unloaded Kristaps Porzingis. They did not get a first-round draft pick for either one of those guys. Those were their top two assets that they had to try to kickstart this rebuild. Did not get a first-round pick. Pick swaps don't count. Did not gain a first-round pick with either of those two guys, which I find interesting. They finally get their first-round pick with this one. They get a, what was it again? A 2030? Yikes. Yeah.
But they do have
a protected first-round pick in 2030 and a second-rounder.
They will have their own top 3 pick next year, for sure.
Well, they're probably hoping that's the Wizards.
Yeah, because they are processing this bad boy. I love that they added Tyus Jones and Jordan Poole too. Like, all right, let's add 2 young, talented scoring point guards.
So we can break it all down?
I don't know. No, they're looking in pieces. They're clearly in a full rebuild.
The Tyus Jones, I don't know why Memphis was in a rush to get rid of him.
Well, they needed Marcus Smart to fill in for Dylan Brooks.
No, I get that, but you got, I guess, to fill out the 3-team trade. That at first that trade fell apart last night. It was supposed to be the Clippers.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be Malcolm Brogdon who was going to go to the Clippers, not Marcus Smart to Memphis. At the last minute, it fell apart. I went to bed and then wake up and it was Marcus Smart going to Memphis. Interesting. All right, we still have our top 25 greatest athletes since 2000 to get to, but we're pushing it off just for a second because of the breaking news. Adrian is in Maryland's got a thought on all this going on. What's up, Adrian?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Perloff, I'm with you 100% today. This Victor, number one, and he being the transcending player in the NBA since LeBron. Didn't we have that last year with the guy that went to OKC? Cheka? What's his name? Cheka?
Chet Holmgren?
His name?
Chet Holmgren?
Yeah. He's about the same size, isn't he?
He's a little shorter, but he's built similarly.
Built similarly, right.
Yeah.
Didn't even get to the regular season. Got hurt in the preseason.
Exactly. So, I mean, Maggie, you're saying it's not a physical league, but there's still some physicality in the league that goes on.
Okay.
So he's going to have to hold his own as far as his weight. As far as this Chris Paul trade, I don't understand. It makes no sense. When D'Angelo Russell can kill the Warriors when they played them in the second round, and then you go get Chris Paul, which is, what's he, 4 inches shorter than Poole, and he's older, so I don't know. We'll
but
see
you remember,
what's going on with it.
Jordan Poole lost his confidence in the playoffs. He was basically a useless NBA player by the end. Something happened that was a terrible chemistry because of the punch. Jordan Poole was not playable by the end of that series. They barely even put him out there.
Then you get Chris Paul that can't stay out there because he's not healthy.
Well,
he's got a groin. He's got this and that during the playoffs. So, I mean, it's up in the air. There's got to be something else behind the doors going on with this trade.
And we'll see. Adrian, thanks so much for the phone call and enjoy the draft tonight. I'm not so sure that there is another thing coming from Golden State except for re-signing Draymond.
Well, everyone said this offseason they need to add size. They don't have like the role that used to be Andrew Bogut or JaVale McGee. They definitely need a center at some point. They got to, I think. I mean, Draymond.
Well, they have Kevon Looney.
Yeah, I mean, it's Kevon Looney. How tall is he? He's 6'9". I think that they have to acknowledge their size problem. By the way, I got a good tweet. Tell me if you agree with this. It is from Tom Sheffer that the Victor Wembanyama missed three-pointer and dunk is like the Jadeveon Clowney one highlight. A dude who has one highlight from all of college. Remember Jadeveon Clowney blew up the poor Michigan running back? So Wembanyama, how many times will we see it tonight? I've already seen it maybe 15 times today. It's a missed three-pointer that Wembanyama puts up, and it's an incredible play. He takes 2 gigantic steps and dunks the ball, but it does feel like it was a bit of an outlier.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. If you want to weigh in on this, we know we're on in Northern California. Got a lot of Warriors fans out there. How are you processing this bomb? It's Woj Shams bomb.
I thought Chris Paul and LeBron were good buddies, right? They're best friends, aren't they? He's part of the Banana Boat crew.
Yeah, he's part of the Banana Slugs. Yep.
So why didn't he say get me to Lakers? And I'm wondering what's the relationship with him and Steph? I have no idea. Is there any documentation on that?
I don't know, but here's the one thing. I think that I'm trying to think why. Maybe Jordan Poole more upside than I guess like Malik Beasley and some of these other guys that are under contract for the Lakers.
Yeah, Jordan. That's a good point. Lakers don't have a lot to offer.
That's what I'm saying. Like, are they going to re-sign Reeves Hachimura? Those guys are restricted free agents, right? So, what are the assets that the Lakers even really have to give away? Yeah,
I mean, Poole did score 20 points a game last year, and he really just towards the end he really struggled though.
All right. Barbara Carroll's in the chat. Maggie, what time do you go to sleep? 7? LOL. It's the East Coast.
Wait, what time did that trade break down? It
was late. It was
close to midnight.
It was almost midnight because they were like, remember they were trying to get under the deadline was midnight for Porzingis to opt out of his like $30 million a year contract. So he ended up opting in, I believe, to get this deal done. So now he's playing on a 1-year deal. Do the Celtics extend him is a big question. So no, I was up till like midnight.
Don't get
baseball.
You can go to bed whenever you want, Maggie. You don't have to listen.
No, I got to be honest. I started tracking my sleep.
Yeah.
Depressing. Don't do it. Do not do it. You'll realize how little you're getting. You're basically getting no deep sleep, nothing restful. Your tissue and things are not regrowing.
Yeah.
I feel bad even saying this to Marco in the room because he just had a newborn a month ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all depends how old you have a young child, too. It's hard to get that sleep.
Thank you, Perloff.
I was very happy about baseball last night. I've been tracking baseball very closely this week.
I know, because you're a Reds fan as of last week.
I'm a huge Reds fan, lifetime Reds fan.
Yeah, sure.
Not only that, the Dodgers beat Shohei because we had Clayton Kershaw ahead of Shohei Ohtani on our top 25 athletes list. I've been trying to justify that all week.
Just watching Shohei with your fingers crossed.
Yeah. So Shohei was, of course, he struck out 6 of his first 9 batters, which is insane. But he didn't get the win because we gotta defend our Clayton Kershaw selection ahead of Shohei.
855-212-4CBS. Okay, we will reveal the next 5 in our top 25 greatest athletes since 2000. We had to push it off for a second because that big trade came through. Again, Chris Paul going to the Warriors now. Jordan Poole going to the Wizards along with 2 picks. Marco Belletti is here. He's going to give you all the latest in this CBS Sports Update. Take it away.
Sports Flash.
Yeah, Maggie, you said a huge shakeup with the NBA. Chris Paul on the move again, reportedly goes to the Warriors in exchange for Jordan Poole, a protected first-round pick in 2030 and a second-rounder in 2027. Golden State getting out of the Poole contract, and Paul gets a chance to play with a contender. Poole's got 4 years, $128 million left on that deal. Celtics have land Kristaps Porzingis in exchange for Marcus Morris, a 3-team deal with the Grizzlies and the Wizards. Clippers reportedly gauging interest on Paul George, who has 1 year left on his contract. Knicks have reportedly called. Later tonight, it's all about Victor Wembanyama, 7'2", 19-year-old from France, being called a generational talent, as he all but assuredly would be picked by the Spurs first overall.
I'm trying to be the best, so being the best, it's not only on the court. There's whole dimensions of in the job of a basketball player, of an NBA player, and I want to be the best also at the media, the press conference, and all this stuff. So I don't like to do things halfway. So I'm trying to enjoy it, and I enjoy it.
Baseball, check that bottom of the ninth. Phillies and Braves still scoreless. D-backs lead the Nationals 5-3. They're in the ninth. Guardians a 6-1 lead on the A's in the ninth inning, and the Twins shut out the Red Sox 6-0. I'm Marco Belletti.
Coming up later on the Zach Gelb Show, the NBA draft is here. We'll react to all the chaos as it goes down, and it all gets started at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Got our top 25 greatest athletes since 2000. We're going to reveal 10 through 6 in just a moment, but massive trade going down in the NBA as we are on draft night. Chris Paul just traded from Phoenix to D.C. Now he goes from the Wizards to the Golden State Warriors. Jordan Poole comes back to the Wizards in exchange, along with a 2030 first-round pick and a second-round pick in 2027 or something. Mm-hmm. Now, we didn't know anybody actually cared about the Wizards at all until Marco Belletti was here doing updates for us, of course. Fantastic. We love him. You're apoplectic about the Wizards. Why?
It doesn't make any sense. What is the end game? The end game cannot be Jordan Poole. You got rid of look. Yeah. You were garbage, right? Yeah. We can all agree. Bradley Beal's there. Kristaps Porzingis, whatever, the carcass of John Wall from years ago. Nothing's there, right? Yeah. So you're stripping it down. You're going to nothing. You're trying to move forward and start a whole new world with the Wizards. So you trade everyone. You get no first-round picks.
Right.
And you get back 4 years, $128 million of Jordan Poole?
You're right. When you put it like that, it really doesn't make a lot of sense.
Well, he's got 1 year down, right? So
it starts this year.
He's got 4 years at 128.
Yeah, instead of just keeping Chris Paul and paying him for a guaranteed $30 million or whatever.
And you're out from under. Well, if your end goal is to get out from under and start brand new, whether it's the first pick and try to get the ping pong balls or whatever it is, it cannot be that we are starting the entire franchise and we're building it around Jordan Poole.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
There's got to be another deal here.
Yeah. What if I told you that there's a 24-year-old shooting guard who scored 20 points a game? Jordan Poole statistically is fascinating. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't buy it, but I'm just saying that that's
I've
an
actually
argument.
seen him play, though, Perloff.
He was good until the playoffs. He was so bad.
He's fine if he's another piece.
Okay.
He can't be the guy you start with.
Well, but maybe that's the strategy. They're going to build around Poole, which means you're going to lose
Please
a lot.
come play with Jordan Poole. Who the hell are you selling this to?
Well, they probably know the rebuild's going to take a while because they didn't get any first-round picks, so it's going to be tough. So maybe they're thinking in 4 years when we're getting out from under Poole's contract, maybe we'll be ready to win. I don't know.
I mean,
that's not exactly three-dimensional chess, I realize.
If you've got another move and you think you can flip Poole for whatever, and honestly, it doesn't have to be anything. It could be a guy that's expiring, whatever. Paul George is in the headlines right now. Maybe you just want that contract for 1 year left. You know it's not going to work, but you can start fresh.
Yeah.
You cannot start your organization from ground zero with Jordan Poole.
Now, another small thing, you have to spend a certain amount of money in the NBA. They call it the salary floor. You have to spend a certain amount, and it's 90% of the salary cap. Maybe that?
You had the money in Chris Paul.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that there's a clause in there that says you don't have to take Jordan Poole at $128 million over 4 years.
We'll comb through the fine print.
What if there was some sort of misunderstanding at some upper level with ownership that they were big Jordan Peele fans, and the GM's like, well, the owner likes Jordan Peele, and then this game of telephone and end up Jordan Poole's in a Wizards uniform.
Honestly,
by the way, Jordan, and you have to admit, Marco, Jordan Poole in a Wizards uniform kind of feels right. Like knowing the Wizards, like, yeah, of course that guy's on the Wizards.
But I mean, like, what were they? The Generals? Like, at some point, the Wizards, they're trying to win, right? Like, they want to get right.
No,
you don't have
not
to
now.
Do it. Look, you don't have to win, but you have to try.
Well, not
this
if you're
is
tanking.
not trying.
This is the process.
Yeah, but if you're going to try to tank, then tank.
Right. This is the halfway where nobody's happy.
Yeah, you're in a bit of a limbo. What if it had been just a
I'm
pure
surprised
salary
anyone
dump?
gives this much of a crap about the Wizards. That's fascinating.
I almost feel like the Homer Simpson, like, your half-assed underparenting was better than this, and he said, I'm using my whole ass. Like, what are the Wizards doing?
It's great for Jordan Poole's fantasy value. Someone has to score on that team.
Oh, he's going to get 27 points a game.
There we go.
And
Stu's
they're
thinking
going to
about
lose
the
a
right
ton
angle
of
here.
games. I think that's enough. I think we've hit our Wizards quota.
Yeah, I think that's it for the year.
For the decade.
Marco, thank you. For the decade. Thank you, Marco.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Marco.
that. This is the Marco, the man who cares about the Wizards. We found him.
Do we have any Wizards on our top 25 athletes? I don't think so. C-Web? Anybody?
No. So let's get to it. Top 25 athletes since 2000.
The Great Debate Series. 25 greatest athletes since 2000.
Wow, we are just blazing through this list. So I should probably start from 25, Perloff, in case anyone's tuning in for the first time. We've been revealing 5 new athletes a day. So this started Monday. So here we go. 25 was Shaun White. 24 was Alexander Ovechkin. 23, Shohei Ohtani. No Mike Trout on the list. 22, Floyd Mayweather. 21, Clayton Kershaw. 20 is Diana Taurasi. 19, Rafael Nadal. 18, Aaron Rodgers. 17, Sidney Crosby. 16, Tim Duncan. 15, Simone Biles. 14, Kobe Bryant. 13, Peyton Manning. 12 is Roger Federer. 11, Patrick Mahomes. We did put Mahomes over Peyton Manning. We also put Tim Duncan on the list, and Kobe. We did not put Shaquille O'Neal on this list because it is greatest athletes since the year 2000.
Yep, pull up Shaq's stats. A lot of 90s in there.
All right, are you ready for the next 5?
All right, I'll announce the names, and you give us the 411. Number 10. Oh, this picture is great on our Twitter feed. He's chewing his mouth guard. Steph Curry.
Steph Curry, the 4-time NBA champ, the 2-time MVP, a 1-time Finals MVP, 4 All-NBA first teams. That would obviously probably been a lot more if Kevin Durant hadn't joined the team, but obviously transcend the game. Greatest shooter of all time. Steph Curry, 10 on the list.
Okay, number 9, Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps, the most successful and decorated Olympian of all time, comes in at number 9. 28 medals, 23 of them gold. He competed in 5 Olympic Games starting in 2000, 04, 08, 12, and 2016. He's won more medals himself than 161 countries combined.
Wow. Okay.
Michael Phelps.
Number 8, Cristiano Ronaldo.
This is for all the soccer fans out there. Ronaldo makes the list. Of course, 5 Ballon d'Ors, 4 Euro golden shoes. Stu will describe those later. 5 UEFA Champions League, most appearances, goals, and assists in Champions League. 3 consecutive Premier League titles as well, and the only player to score in 5 different World Cup tournaments.
Okay, number 7, Mr. Djokovic.
Novak Djokovic, 7th on the list. Current number 1 men's singles player in the world at 36 years old. 389 weeks at number 1, spanning 12 different years. He's got the all-time record for men's singles, 23 Grand Slam titles, 10 Aussie Opens, 3 French Opens, 7-time Wimbledon champ, 3-time U.S. Open champion, and triple career Grand Slam, which means he won each of the 4 majors 3 times each, at least.
Ooh. Number 6, Usain Bolt.
And Usain Bolt rounds out the last athlete we're going to reveal today, an 8-time Olympic gold. Basically, the greatest sprinter of all time. The only sprinter to win the 100-meter, 200-meter races at 3 consecutive Olympics. That's 2008, 2012, 2016. He is also the current world record holder in the 100, the 200, and the 4x100-meter relay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now down to the top 5.
Yeah, we really hit the mainstream sports of this one. We got tennis, a track, a swimming.
Oh, you got Steph Curry in there.
Steph Curry, yeah. I am one of those jerks who could throw out the argument, well, if there's no ball, it's not a sport. I don't always say that, and I'm not a track and field fan per se. Like, I don't watch it except for the Olympics. Usain Bolt was so thrilling that he transcended his sport to me. Like, normally I wouldn't put a sprinter in my list, but you were covering those Olympics. Wasn't it insane what he did?
Amazing. Again, let's go to our pal Bob Costas. If you don't believe us, let's hear Bob Costas on Usain Bolt. He joined us earlier this week.
Usain Bolt 3 times won the 100 and the 200, plus picked up another gold in relays. No one ever did that. Carl Lewis and Jesse Owens were more well-rounded Olympians, but last time I checked, they weren't involved in the 21st century. So Usain Bolt, he belongs there. He's the fastest human, so far as we know, of all time, unless someone back before recorded history was running around caves faster than that.
As only Costas can. So that was Costas on Usain Bolt. We also have Costas weighing in on Michael Phelps, who came in 9th on the list.
Phelps, who has 28 medals and I think 23 of them gold. So he's got volume. And of course, swimmers and people in certain events have advantages because there are more medals on offer to them. But still, you can't deny what Phelps did. So I think he did well with that.
Okay. Stu and Mike, I will defer to you on Ronaldo. I mean, I'm pretty sure we got this one correct here. Obviously, we still have 5 more to go, and we're not saying whether or not he's the only soccer player to make the list.
Yeah, so. I mean, he's one of the 2 greatest soccer players ever, and one of the 2 greatest soccer players of the generation. The golden shoes, like you said, for the most goals in European competition. He is second behind another European soccer player during that time, second most all time. So he's right there as one of the greats of all time.
Moist is in the chat, says golden shoes sounds like the thing people did for babies in the 80s, like a bronze shoe. No, golden shoe, a lot more accomplished than that. Sam, do you want to weigh in?
No, I can't have you keep reading his name over and over and over again. The guy in the chat with that M word. It just makes
Get
me
over
cringe. It's interesting to me because I'm looking at it and we talk so much about football and basketball and baseball and I mean, we've got a sprinter, a tennis player, a soccer player, and a swimmer. 4 of our top 10 so far, which is really fascinating to me. And it really just breaks down, what is an athlete? Are we talking about athletic prowess? Are we talking about what they did in their respective sport? Obviously, you can say Djokovic in his respective sport, Bolt in his respective sport. But we talked about Bolt. He's like, I'll play football. I'll go play football, and I'll sprint, and I'll run, I'll catch balls. Nobody wanted to have him on the football field, so maybe he's not that athletic. Maybe he just can just run fast in a straight line for a short distance. So I think it's super interesting because now we're starting to get into not whether or not these guys belong, because clearly these 10 belong. It's a matter of what is athleticism,
right? How do you but this is also clearly we don't have one criteria for this list because we're kind of moving it around a little because we wanted to be well-rounded and really represent a lot of different people. But it's not just about athletic achievement. It's about accomplishment, too.
Totally. And it's not about athleticism. It's also the mental game. I actually said to this before the show, I go to Maggie, Are we sure that Djokovic is a better athlete than Kevin Durant? And that's another thing, too. We're comparing apples and oranges.
Yep.
They're very different sports. As I look at it, when we were doing this list, everyone made sense to me. I do feel like maybe we're a little too international.
Okay, but here's the thing. If you're telling the story of sports from the year 2000 on, I don't think you can tell the story of sports. If an alien landed on this planet and, like, tell me about sports since 2000, are you not going to put Michael Phelps on the list?
You are, but you have to understand that he is swimming in a much smaller pool of athletes. He's competing against 1/100th the number of people like Cristiano Ronaldo. Everybody in the world wants to be a soccer
players, then that's a smaller pool because only this country plays NFL football.
Much bigger pool, though, because, but I mean, listen, for the most part, there's
everyone
just
in
a
the world
small
swims.
Yeah, but there's a small group in California who's really competing for these titles. And I don't know.
And where did all the football prospects come from? California, Texas, Florida.
Yeah, I just don't think, to me, like, swimming is just, in general, not as impressive as these gigantic team sports, these international sports. And you're right, football is a smaller pool, but basketball, everybody wants to be a great basketball player. Everyone wants to be a great soccer player. Not everybody gets in a pool and swims a 50.
Okay, but it's not like Michael Phelps won a couple golds here and there.
Right.
You know, like, it took him winning 23 gold medals and 28 medals overall to achieve the fame that he did. He didn't just break the record, he blew it out of the water, no pun intended.
But Bob Costas pointed out swimming is designed that way, where there are many similar events that you can accumulate many golds.
Right.
So Mark Spitz won 1 million golds. I think he had 7 and 1 Olympics.
Yeah, I know, but Phelps
basically
destroyed that record.
Right, but they're basically doing the same thing, right? I mean, for example, there are a lot of events where you can't win 7 gold medals.
Right, if you play basketball, you're only winning 1.
Is it that impressive? I like Michael Phelps, but is that he's the fastest in 50 yards? He does the same stroke, and he's the fastest in 100. Is that really any different?
Well, that's Usain Bolt too. He's the fastest at the 100, so he's the fastest at the 200.
Right, but I only care about the 100. But anyway, yeah,
your own record.
I don't know. Do you think are there people who think we have the wrong soccer player? I'm curious. Is there an argument for the other guy to be below Cristiano Ronaldo?
In what order are they supposed to be? It's Messi. Like, what order is Messi Ronaldo?
I think the World Cup title solidified Messi. I think there was more of an argument maybe 2 or 3 years ago, but the World Cup title, I think it's kind of put dead.
What do you think? 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Coming up, you think we have too many tennis players on the list? John Wertheim, 60 Minutes correspondent, Sports Illustrated writer, will join us next. Plus, we'll get you updated on all the latest basketball news. Big trade in the works for the Golden State Warriors. We got the details next. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Does anybody have the financial security that they can do the right thing in that case? Because it's not the wrong thing to keep the ball. That's what most of us would do. Am I being totally
doing the right
here?
thing is like, going to a soup kitchen or donating to charity. Giving a souvenir to a soon-to-be multimillionaire is not the right thing.
I don't know if it's necessarily the right thing to do to give it back, because if I'm in your shoes, I might keep it. I wouldn't feel good about it. I don't know.
13-year-old Mike Santer is absolutely giving that ball to Derek Jeter or whoever. 40-whatever-year-old Santer. There's bills to pay, you have responsibilities, you've got kids.
Then what are you doing at a Reds game on a Wednesday night? You got all these responsibilities and all these bills to pay.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
What up? The NBA going crazy today. Of course, the draft happening in just a couple hours, but the big news, the big trade. The Golden State Warriors trading away Jordan Poole to Washington, D.C. In return, they get Chris Paul. Chris Paul now going to the Golden State Warriors. He wanted to go to a contender, Perloff, and now he lands on, well, the one dynasty we kind of have currently going in the NBA.
Yeah, there's a great point I read from our buddy Chris Mannix on Twitter. The fact that the Wizards got more for Chris Paul, they got Jordan Poole back, than they got for Bradley Beal is kind of wild. But the Wizards side is one thing. The question is this enough to push the Warriors into the finals, and I don't think so at all. I don't understand. I understand wanting to get rid of Jordan Poole. I think that was the key push here. I don't think they're sitting there and saying, well, if we had Chris Paul, we're back on top in the West. I don't think that is a realistic expectation.
I think this probably is not just a move to get out from under Jordan Poole's contract because they had to attach a first-round pick to it, a protected first-round pick in the year 2030, so we'll get back to you on that. But I think this shows Draymond Green, this is how badly we want you back. We're saying we want you back. We've been open about wanting you back. Now we're going to get rid of the guy who you had friction with, that you punched, let's be honest. But when that video got leaked, I think it changed Draymond's reputation because some people liked how he behaved on the court. He's that bully, the one guy everybody needs, the muscle, the intense dude on the court. But once you see the video of him sucker punching a teammate, it's a pretty bad look for Draymond. Now, it hasn't really stayed with him as badly as it may have. Some other people, he's still on the team. He's still a valued member of the Warriors. I think the fan base is still definitely behind him. But this looks like an overture to Draymond Green. Come on back.
They really need to make an overture to Draymond Green.
I don't know.
To an aging 6'5" power forward center type. You're probably right. I'm not disagreeing, but it seems funny to me. The Warriors have to woo Draymond Green. Like, what's going on with this team? Because if they bring back Draymond, they have Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. You can see there's an obvious hole on this team. They're just incredibly small.
Yeah.
And how are they going to beat Denver?
How's anyone going to beat Denver? I don't know.
Yeah.
You look at what the Celtics just did. They just traded for Kristaps Porzingis. They get rid of Marcus Smart. He goes to the Memphis Grizzlies. By the way, he's kind of like a Draymond guy.
Instigator.
Doesn't have the off the court, as far as we know. But he's that guy.
Tough. Really tough.
Gritty, whatever. Defensive-minded guy. But in a backcourt that was already pretty crowded, where the Celtics have Derek White. So now Porzingis comes in to play alongside Al Horford, I would imagine, Robert Williams. Two guys who are good but can't play a lot of minutes. And Porzingis himself, is he going to stay healthy? Who the heck knows? But that is an example of a team who's reading the tea leaves and saying we have to get bigger.
So DraftKings put Boston as co-favorites in the entire NBA. They moved them up to plus 475 with Denver.
Wow.
Because
of Porzingis?
Yeah, they move way up because of Porzingis. You need a center. Well, I think there's reason to think the East is weak. You can get through the East despite the hype. So Boston now they match up better with Denver now and Porzingis than they did yesterday. Marcus Smart is beyond washed, in my opinion. 29, he couldn't cover a point guard already. I think Smart really let them down last year. Had an ankle injury, so I think they're fine getting rid of Marcus Smart as well.
Can I just tell you, Porzingis played 65 games last year. He'd only ever played 72 and 66, and that was his rookie year and the second year.
Yeah, so he's 65. So, he's turned it around.
Then 51 the year before, 43, 57. That was coming off of an ACL. This guy has not been the picture of health. So to assume you're going to have Kristaps Porzingis for the whole season, I think is kind of foolish. But
well, I mean, listen, somebody's got to take risk here. No one's making moves that are perfect here. Like the Warriors, they didn't want to have to trade Jordan Poole after 1 year, but he stunk last year. Remember in the playoffs, they couldn't even have him on the court because he lost his confidence completely.
So that's what's going on with the NBA. Of course, on this show, you know that we are dedicating the week, more or less, to Perloff and I making our list of the top 25 athletes since the year 2000. Stu, let's hit the music as we go back through the list.
The Great Debate Series. 25 greatest athletes since 2000.
Okay, quickly, I'm going to go through the list again in case you're just joining us. 25 was Shaun White. 24, Alexander Ovechkin. 23, Shohei Ohtani. No Mike Trout on the list. 22, Floyd Mayweather. 21, Clayton Kershaw. 20, Diana Taurasi. 19, Rafael Nadal. 18, Aaron Rodgers. 17, Sidney Crosby. 16, Tim Duncan. Shaquille O'Neal did not make this list. Simone Biles is 15. 14 is Kobe Bryant. 13, Peyton Manning. 12 is Roger Federer. 11, Patrick Mahomes. Yes, we put Mahomes over Peyton Manning on this list. We revealed 10 through 6 today. Steph Curry at 10. We put him over Kobe Bryant. 9 is Michael Phelps. 8, Cristiano Ronaldo. 7, Novak Djokovic. 6 is Usain Bolt. And we will reveal the top 5 tomorrow. So that's the list. Let's welcome in our guest today. John Wertheim is an award-winning journalist, works for the Tennis Channel, 60 Minutes correspondent, Sports Illustrated, and a dear friend. John, thanks so much for doing this today. How are you?
Oh, good. I'm better than Marcus Smart. Good. You got me thinking about your list already, but good. How are you guys doing?
Well, that's the point, John. I'm glad it got you thinking. So, we don't want to reveal anything too big, but we have 3 men's singles players, as you heard on the list, Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic. There may be another tennis player on the list. Wink, wink. You can probably figure that out. But for the men's side, did we get this right, putting Joker, Federer, Nadal, Joker highest, Federer next, and then Nadal? Did Perloff and I get that right?
Oh, man.
Lay it on us. You can be brutally honest.
First of all, just backing up, the whole thing is crazy. Like, Pete Sampras won 14 majors when he retired in 2002. And you thought this was going to be like Hank Aaron's home. This was DiMaggio's hitting streak, right? This would not get broken in our lifetime. He's not even on the medal stand anymore. So the fact that you've had 3 guys in the last 20 years do this is just extraordinary. I just think majors in tennis anyway has become the gold. Like, that's where it's at. That's it. And Nadal has more than Federer, and he has a superior head-to-head record against Federer. It's crazy, because if you'd done this 10 years ago, Federer would be like in your top 5. We wouldn't even be talking about him because he wouldn't have revealed him yet. But right now, I think you kind of have to put Nadal ahead of Federer. No?
The reason why, it's funny, the reason why we put Nadal the lowest is because it was dominance on one surface, And so we thought, is that a little lopsided because it was just so dominant on clay? But now you've given us something to think about, that his head-to-head against Federer was much better. He was better than Federer.
I know. Yeah. And I think, you look at who he had to beat Federer, too. That's why I think Djokovic is so remarkable. That he had to beat Nadal. Look at who Federer beat in the beginning for his first, in 2003 to, say, 2008. And it was a bunch of, Mark Philippoussis and an older Agassi and Andy Roddick a bunch of times and guys you've never heard of. And then these other 2 guys come along. So not only do they end up with more majors than Federer, but they had to go through him. So, Nadal's won 22 majors and 14 have come on clay, which is crazy. But he still won 8 of them off of clay.
Right.
And I don't know. He has more majors and he had a better record head-to-head against the guy. I kind of think he's got to be higher, no?
John, you had an interesting point in your mailbag, your SI mailbag on tennis, where Djokovic has a home field advantage in the sense that he had a target to go for because he's the last one of the 3. So he's clearly been targeting the Nadal and Federer's major record. Honestly, I give Federer a little credit because he was first. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, totally. I think I said it's like batting in the bottom of the 9th, right? You know exactly what you have to do. The other team, Federer is just hey, put as many runs on the board as possible. And the other team can, the home team can really kind of, make their strategy and tactics specific to what they have to do to win. So, with Federer, it's kind of like, hey, go run as fast as you can. And you're like, well, I don't know. Is it a sprint? Is it a marathon? No, just go run. And with the other 2 guys, they knew exactly what the standard was that they had to eclipse. They could sort of fashion their game to beat Federer. Well, what do I have to do to beat this guy specifically? He didn't have that advantage as the guy who went first.
John Wertheim is our guest. He's an award-winning journalist and author, Tennis Channel, 60 Minutes correspondent, Sports Illustrated, is the smartest guy we know. We had to bring him on because before we knew it, we're making a top 25 athletes since 2000 list, and 4 tennis players made it on the list. We're like, is this right? But I think it is. At their peak, John, between Nadal, Djokovic, and Federer, at their peak, who do you think was the best?
Oh, what is? Let me throw this. First of all, what surface are we playing on? If it's playing, it's Nadal. I think anything else is probably Djokovic. The other thing, what do you guys do to account for money and technology? And what LeBron, God bless him, and Brady too. but these guys can invest tens of millions of dollars in prolonging their career. You've seen, whatever. Porzingis will make twice as much money as Michael Jordan will. I mean, the financial advantages that then can get sort of, you can then convert that into career extension. Doesn't that really help athletes like Djokovic who have come along later than the others?
That's a great point.
Anyway.
Yeah, we've accounted for that. Hey, John, I love talking to you, too. You've written a lot about MMA. If you had to put one MMA person, either a man or a woman on there, who would you choose?
Oh, man.
Top 25 since 2000.
I can tell you who we thought about. We had robust conversations about Anderson Silva, about John Jones, Conor McGregor,
Ronda Rousey,
and Amanda Nunes. We had robust debates, and ultimately none of them made the list. Uh-oh, John. It sounded like he dropped his phone down a sewer or something. But yeah, so reveal there. None of our MMA.
He didn't want any of that MMA smoke.
Yeah, it's all right. Dana's not listening. We'll get John back up there. So right now, a little bit in the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Dan in Vegas, Curry over Kobe is a disgrace. We knew Kobe is polarizing no matter where you put him.
Yeah, I mean, Curry, it's a tough one. I think Curry's transforming the game gives him a little bit of an edge where Kobe just copied Michael Jordan. And I love Kobe too, but Curry was very different.
About the transcendence of the game, which is, usually this is why I always put LeBron over Curry. I know that Curry transcended the game, but obviously I think LeBron is the better player. I mean, Curry's the greatest shooter of all time.
So that's a great point, by the way, that John had, wherever John is. Hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, I know. Is John all right?
The fact that Djokovic, Brady, LeBron, they can extend their careers because of fitness kind of shapes this list. Because I think we're giving Brady credit because he was awesome until he was 45 years old.
Definitely. LeBron puts $1 million a year into his body only. All right, John is back. John Wertheim, 60 Minutes correspondent, Tennis Channel award-winning journalist, and author, and Sports Illustrated as well. All right, John, we picked up at UFC MMA fighters. None of them ended up making the list. Is that a mistake?
It's hard. I mean, it's kind of the beauty/curse of MMA. It's not like Floyd Mayweather. It's not like guys go 20 years on. I mean, I guess you could put John Jones on from your hometown, Maggie. You could put Khabib on. But I don't – I mean, it's kind of the nature of the sport, right, that you're on top of the world and then you get beat. And it's one thing that I think really appeals to fans. No one's larding their record for 5 years while waiting for their promoter to, set up the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight. You fight the next person. But what it means is that you don't really – I mean, Khabib would be the only – name I could think of, but Conor McGregor is great for a few years and then he gets beaten a few fights, and no one's leaving that sport undefeated. So I don't think you're missing anyone. Khabib maybe, but that's about it.
John, I know you've written about the '84 Olympics and Carl Lewis. The athlete that reminds me most of him is Usain Bolt. We have him at number 6 on the list. Are you okay with putting Bolt up that high?
I think it's sort of like heavyweight. There's still something that goes with being the fastest man in the world. I think that's about right. I mean, I don't think it's. Don't you guys? First of all, individual versus team sports is sort of but also a full season versus you show. I mean, I think it's hard to make him much higher just because of the wear and tear and competition. On the other hand, being the fastest man on the planet for basically a decade probably buys you some currency there.
John, last one for me, and this is purely hypothetical because we have not released the top 5 greatest athletes since 2000. The top 5 is tomorrow. But let's just say, for argument's sake, maybe Serena Williams ends up on this list somewhere. How, for Serena's dominance, Can you just shed a little light on the type of competition that she had, right? Like the Nadal, Djokovic, and Federer, they had each other. You know, they were all battling each other. Serena, besides maybe, I guess, Venus, people used to say Sharapova, but that really wasn't a rivalry. She really didn't have, I don't think, a head-to-head rival. You know, the era that Serena was playing in, can you just talk to that a bit?
Yeah, it's sort of the great, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? She was so dominant, and everyone's like, well, she didn't have to beat anyone. She didn't have a rival. And you're like, yeah, she didn't have a rival because she kicked everyone else's ass. The second best women's tennis player of the last 25 years, like, shared a bunk bed with her at one point. So you could do, like, the two-headed Williams. But no, I mean, Serena won her first major in 1999 when Bill Clinton was president, and she won her last major when Trump was president. I mean, it's crazy what she did, and I think she's the best. I don't think I've seen a better athlete. I don't think I've seen a better competitor, and I think the fact that she didn't have a rival is attributable mostly to the fact that she didn't let anyone. Maria Sharapova beat her once, and then Serena's basically like, I'm never losing to that blondie again. and she didn't. I mean, I think she didn't have a rival because she didn't give anyone a sniff. And I think that's a point in her favor, not to her detriment.
John, we got a break, but real quick, are you as obsessed with the submarine story as Maggie and I are?
Boy.
I don't know if you would do that story for 60 Minutes, but how crazy has this week been?
It's been crazy. Have you seen these clips about the video game console and the sort of saving up on? I mean, there's surely I'm not the first person to point out the irony that the Titanic was like rich people going out on this uncertain craft because they bought all the fancy stuff and now they wanted the seafaring experience on this new fancy toy, and now 100 years later it's basically history. Surely someone else has made that point, yeah?
Yeah.
How many lives is the Titanic going to claim is what I've seen a lot of. I'm expecting to see John in like a boat off of Nova Scotia in the next couple weeks reporting for 60 Minutes. John, thank you so much. We know you're busy. Can't tell you how much we appreciate you lending your expertise to our list.
Oh, fun game. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John. That's John Wertheim, award-winning journalist and author, Tennis Channel, 60 Minutes, of course, Sports Illustrated. He does it all.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Can't you see John out there in like a dinghy, like wearing the life preserver, talking to the camera?
Yeah. There's been updates on that story. I don't know if you've been following the last hour. Yeah.
What happened the last hour? Can you save it?
We'll save it.
Because I want to see for myself.
Yeah, I mean, like very, very big-time journalistic outlets are reporting what happened.
Okay, so we'll get to that in just a minute. We got to take a break. You guys are welcome to weigh in. So we got a lot going on today. We've got our top 25 greatest athletes since 2000. We revealed 10 through 6. We've got trades in the NBA, including Chris Paul being traded to the Golden State Warriors in a surprising move. We've got Marcus Smart leaving the Celtics, going to Memphis. Kristaps Porzingis goes to Boston. Okay, they're now Celtics are now even odds with the Nuggets to win the title next year. Wow. We also have the draft coming up tonight, and Victor Wembanyama supposed to be number 1. But who's going 2? We'll tell you all about that in just moments. Don't move. Maggie, Perloff, you on this amazing and crazy Thursday, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie and Perloff Show. Sad news, as we teased before our last break, the Titanic submersible that's been missing for days suffered a catastrophic loss of pressure that imploded the vessel, according to the Coast Guard. So it seems like, based on the debris they found, that the mystery that's been consuming all week long has, for the most part, at least partially been answered here. The debris is consistent with a catastrophic loss of pressure, said the head of the Coast Guard. We immediately notified the families, and Ocean Gate, who runs it, said that the lives have sadly been lost.
Man.
This is
we were holding out hope, that maybe this was going to have a different outcome. Yet at the same time, it was like, all right, something's happening. These people are in trouble. These 5 people are in this submersible that is going down to look at the ruins of the Titanic, or wanted to. And as we learn more, it's like, all right, what's the worst fate here? To be alive, be running out of oxygen, be panicking 13,000 feet underwater and hoping someone can save you, or as this is catastrophic implosion. And something fast. And,
dying suddenly. Yeah. I think clearly the latter is the better way to go.
Terrible either way.
And also too, when you read more about this, just the pressure of the water down there, the fact that it just seemed like such a dangerous expedition. There's already talk about, hey, how do they regulate this? Obviously, if you read the details about the submersible, it seemed like they were going fast and loose on the safety side.
Cutting corners, cost effectiveness. I mean, buying parts of Camping World. I just, at least that's some of the reports I saw. I think that, listen, I think there's a quick rush to judgment here because the people were obviously wealthy. And, is this the deep irony here that the Titanic also crashed and sank because, and these extremely wealthy people mostly, died? But here's the thing, this is also exploration. These are risk-taking people who want to do things in the name of science. I don't really want to chastise them for doing this. At the same time, my rush to judgment is, as a parent, how do you bring your 19-year-old son on something this dangerous? What are you thinking being this risky?
Well, I'm
torn on this one.
I don't think going on the Titanic seemed that risky. It was a giant cruise ship.
Well, they said it was the unsinkable boat, right?
Yeah. It was basically a Viking cruise ship. It was gigantic. It's a lot different than going in a minivan-sized thing down to the bottom of the ocean. So you're right. This is you knew the risk. People who do all these climb Everest and solo climbers, and the risk. It's funny.
Taking a 19-year-old down there, I don't know. It's one thing. You're a billionaire.
It's tough.
You're in your 50s or 60s. You've lived, you've had experiences in your life. 19 years old, you're a kid. I felt like a kid at 19.
That's a great point. I thought a lot about the boys who were stuck in the Thai cave system.
Yeah.
And the fact that
there
was a miracle that they got out gave me hope that there was going to be a miracle here. Of course, there was not. I'm curious if there'll be movies about this, like there were about the Thai cave, which, by the way, I cannot watch.
No, too claustrophobic.
I don't like any of that stuff.
No.
Cave diving is the last thing I'm going to do.
No, not doing it. And I'm also, I'll have to just take your word for it on the Titanic ruins. There's no way I'm going down there. I can't even go in the deep end of the pool, let alone 13,000 feet. I couldn't scuba dive. I can barely snorkel.
I actually didn't even enjoy the movie Titanic.
Yeah, me neither.
I didn't like Titanic. I don't know. I
do love DiCaprio, though.
You do? See, I'm not a huge DiCaprio guy.
I know, we did our DiCaprio Brad Pitt
and
rankings.
Even in that movie, okay, it's sort of like a teen movie that everyone dressed up to an Oscar movie. It's okay.
Well, when it came out, I was 12, so it was right in my wheelhouse. But I didn't really love it.
Yeah, Samter too. You guys just looked at me
I wasn't one of those teen girls who went to see it 20 times.
You didn't have a DiCaprio poster on the wall?
Well, maybe one or two, but not for that movie. 855-212-4CBS. Let's get back to what we do best, which is sports. We've got the NBA draft tonight. We've got big trade, the Golden State Warriors trading for Chris Paul. Chris Paul joining the Warriors. The Warriors unloading Jordan Poole and his contract to the Washington Wizards. They had to send a 2030 first-round draft pick along with it, a 2027 second-rounder. Let's go to Sean, though, is in Oregon. He's got a thought on what his Blazers might do tonight. Hi, Sean. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Long time no talk.
Yeah, how you been?
First of all, good. But first of all, after that, I want to say thoughts and prayers to everyone involved in this catastrophe.
Yeah. So sad. Yeah.
So, and it's not our time to second guess anything. It's just time to just be hopeful and say our prayers.
Good point.
And after that, I want to say this is Rip City with the number 3 pick, baby. And I just hope the first two teams make their mistakes. And I'm really hoping for Scoot. I'm really hoping to see Scoot Henderson, what he brings. He's got the dog in him. He's got the dog, and he's got that fire in him like nobody I've seen in a while. And I think he's going to start tearing stuff up.
But Sean, what would you do if you still have Lillard and Scoot? Don't they kind of play the same position?
Yeah, and it's time for us, to face the facts here in Portland, and it's time to move on. It's a better business decision to instead paying Lillard these $50 and $60 million a year here coming up. It's time for us to move on with him, and he can help. Maybe Scoot can ride the bench for the first year, And I'd like to see Blazers trade him at the end of the trade deadline. So because next year with all the changes, it's going to be harder to make the trades. We're going to take more penalties, everything else. And you just got to think about this like business. And I'm just thinking like, let's just build this for the future and do the best of what's in it for Portland and Rip City and win championships. And I don't want just one championship. I don't want to bring in some old veterans for one. I want banners and banners. I want the Blazers to be back like they were back in the 70s and 80s and 90s. You know, this is BS how Portland's been. It's time for us to get back on top and do what we do best, and that's what we do is ball up here in the Northwest.
Well,
wow.
Drop the mic, Sean. I'm ready to suit up for the Blazers right now.
That was like a Rocky clip. Just win, baby.
Listen, I get it. Frustrated Blazers fan. Totally understand. I just, Sean, I'm sorry, and thank you for the phone call. I don't think Scoot Henderson's going to be there now. It looks like the draft odds are changing quite a bit in the last couple hours where it's looking more and more like Scoot Henderson is going to be the second overall pick. Now, we saw shenanigans last year in the draft where Paolo Banchero ends up going number 1 in the last minute. But this is, and all the money poured in on this is, to me, the dumbest thing you can do as a GM is if you have an established star and then someone coming out of the draft to say, well, we can't draft that guy because they play the same position. But that's insane to me.
What?
These are all lottery picks, not lottery like 1 through 14. I'm saying these are all your hopes. You got to hope any of these guys pan out. To start drafting for position in basketball, to me, is so dumb.
Well, you have LaMelo Ball handling the ball all the time in Charlotte. I don't know. Scoot's got to have the ball in his hand all the time, too.
Picture of health, LaMelo Ball. I mean, what are you doing?
But you're taking, I mean, you can't just give up on LaMelo Ball and say, well, we don't think he's going to be healthy. Let's get another ball handling point guard.
I'm just saying I want the best guy available. This is always the cliche that teams use, but if Scoot Henderson really would be the number 1 overall pick if there was no Wembanyama this year or next year, as people had said, then I want the best guy. Let him and LaMelo, we'll figure that all out. Let me get the most talented dude in the building.
Okay, well, first of all, I think this franchise is going nowhere, and I think Scoot Henderson...
Which franchise?
It's Charlotte. Well, you know what? That's not fair because they're selling, but it sure seems like they're in purgatory, right? Like, do you have any hope that Scoot Henderson's going to work out as a Hornet based on the last several years of the Hornets' history?
Well, no, but can I ask what's going on here? So Michael Jordan's making the pick, even though he's stepping back as majority owner?
Isn't he? Yeah, I don't understand. And a bunch of hedge fund guys, we looked at the hedge fund guys are buying the team, but Jordan's still there, and he's playing with Brandon Miller and shooting around with him.
So we have some audio of this. Brandon Miller was on Sirius XM NBA radio, talked about his workout, and this is how you know the kid's young, how he talks about Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan was never the guy I grew up watching. Kind of grew up watching Paul George, so I think Michael Jordan was just a regular guy to me in the gym watching me work out. Always trash talking.
What did he say to you?
He told me I was just a shooter. You can't really let Jordan get in your head, you know. Kind of talked some trash back to him. I witnessed him airball the free throw too.
How did that happen? Was he having a contest with you?
Just old. It's him just being old. You've been old.
You better hope he sells the team, or you might be on the bench there.
Lace him up. Lace him up.
I mean, listen, I guess, I get it. He didn't watch Jordan, so working out in front of Michael Jordan is just working out in front of another old guy in the gym.
Yeah.
It's bizarre to say that, but...
Well, I think it's even more bizarre that, of course, I was watching Paul George. What about LeBron and Steph Curry and Kevin Durant? You were watching Paul George? Did you not notice LeBron James? What's going on there?
Or if you're so into three-point shooting, not Steph Curry.
Well, I guess he's built like Paul George. Paul George is 6'7", 6'8", skinny, kind of a tweener game. So I think that's where he was going. Paul George, it's still fascinating. Was the original question about LeBron versus MJ, and he just blew over LeBron.
Yeah,
no mention of LeBron.
GOAT, MJ, LeBron. No, it's Paul George. Everyone's like, record scratch. You sure about that?
Well, the thing about it is nobody aspires to be LeBron because you can't be LeBron. There's only one physical LeBron. So you can aspire to be Paul George.
Wait, why was Michael Jordan shooting free throws, and why did he airball one? I still have questions. He didn't really get into that.
I see clips of Jordan taking campers to school all the time, by the way. I saw a thing the other day where he hit 16 shots in a row on a bet or something. He could still shoot.
The shooting never goes. That's what guys always say. They're taking money in church shoes.
90 years old and still shoot. So I don't buy this airball thing. I watch Jordan suit up to take this kid on. Because, you trash talk Jordan, you're asking for trouble.
And I think that Scoot Henderson is going to. I don't think he's going to end up with the Blazers, but I have no idea if Dame Lillard's going to be on this team in 4 days. If they make that pick, which looks like they're going to make the pick and not trade it, does Dame Lillard doesn't seem like he wants to be a part of that. He doesn't want to play with another teenager.
You just know. You know that Shams and Woj are sitting on something, and they're going to pop on right between picks 7 and 8 and give us some update. Don't you feel like there's something brewing where if Portland does do that number 3 pick, there's a good possibility a Lillard report will not be far behind that?
Maybe. I mean, that Zion news has really died down, huh? We're not very quiet on the Zion front.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that was always going to be tough.
That was always going to be tough,
Yeah.
But who knows? Yeah, and then you mentioned earlier the Mavericks look like they're going to make some noise and make a trade. I think there's going to be
Lakers
some.
are trying to trade out of 17, apparently.
There's going to be some good ones tonight. I think there's going to be some veterans on the move, some more.
Marco, have you calmed down on your? Are you still mad at the Wizards?
No, I feel much better considering now I see the pick swaps. So at least they're doing something.
Wait, what?
They're getting 4 first-round pick swaps and 6 second-rounders in this because it becomes a 3-team deal with the Suns. So the Suns now don't control a pick until 2031 after tonight.
Well, that was from the Bradley Beal.
Right. This is now the 3rd team that they said they were waiting on that to see a 3rd team. If they could find something with Chris Paul, this becomes the 3rd team with the Warriors. So now they get 4 first-round pick swaps and 6 second-rounders. So it's not just Jordan Poole and nothing. At least they get some picks out of the deal.
Well, the question is, whose front office are you really betting on here? If I'm going to bet on who's going to get to have the better picks of the next 7 years, I'm probably thinking the Wizards are just going to be picking at their own spot because I don't think the Golden State Warriors are bottoming out.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And also with the Suns, too, because I think some of these swaps are with the Suns, not with the Warriors. And then there's a protected in 2030. So I get it, but at least there's a long game. Like, at least I understand what you maybe are trying to do.
But the pick swaps are not new first-rounders. That's just swaps.
Yeah, but that's new to this deal. I didn't have that as that was in the third part. What they said originally was a 2030 first-round protected and a 2027 second-round pick.
Yeah.
What the hell is that? That's nothing. At least this is something. It's not good, but it's something. And you get look, I didn't want to disparage Jordan Poole. He's not a terrible player. He's just not a great player.
Right.
You don't start your franchise with Jordan Poole.
No.
You add Jordan Poole after you have other pieces around it. They're going the other way, which still to me, I feel like there's another deal involved. If I were running the Wizards, which I'm
definitely
glad I'm not, I don't think I would start with Jordan Poole. I would flip him for something else and see if you can get more picks.
Gosh, do you guys remember when the NBA had trades that you could understand? Pick swaps and it's insane.
And I will say, as much as those pick swaps never seem to, you always think, oh, whatever. It didn't work out for the Nets real well. Sometimes the pick swaps can all of a sudden bottom out, and you wind up, and it's a mess, and you wind up getting the pick.
I mean, Steph Curry might be gone by the time some of these, where the Warriors might have a rebuild in their near future. The Suns are a house of cards.
Right. Who knows what happens with the Suns, and if this winds up being a 2-year thing, and if it falls apart. The Warriors, as much as Steph still got years, Klay Thompson's, is he almost done? If they re-sign Draymond Green, how much longer does this dynasty last? If you're talking about another 2 years? We get into 2029 and 2030, maybe these picks aren't that bad.
I just wonder, what does the world look like in 2030 when this pick conveys?
I don't know.
Are we in the metaverse at that point? Are we just walking around wearing goggles in front of our face and not even saying hi to each other anymore?
Hopefully,
are we just an avatar?
Hopefully we're not AI. We're actually still real people on the radio. By the way, I've never seen a 180 like Marco Belletti on the Wizards right now. You were screaming.
An hour ago,
you were screaming. Now you're basically wearing your, I'm trying to name a Wizards, your Kispert jersey.
And again, I don't care about the Wizards either way, but you cannot trade your entire franchise and get back no picks. At least you got back, 10 picks now? Some of them suck, but at least you got something out of it. You can't take the entire franchise and say, you know what, Jordan Poole, we're good. And we're moving on. We're good here.
Do you know I actually went? I'm the only person in America that's seen the Wizards play live in the last 10 years. I went to a Wizards and Knicks game about a month ago just to show the kid the Garden. I got to tell you, this is the weirdest thing. Corey Kispert is their entire offense. That's where this franchise is. They are lost. Anyway.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, so all this basketball stuff going on, you would have thought we forgot about Aaron Rodgers. Don't worry, we didn't. He's up to ridiculous Aaron Rodgers things. We will update you on all the latest after this CBS Sports Update with Marco Belletti.
CBS Sports Radio. Sports Flash.
Now, guys, Chris Paul getting a shot to grab that elusive title. Reportedly on the move to the Warriors as Washington will get back Jordan Poole along with 4 first-round pick swaps and 6 second-round picks. Golden State unloading a 4-year, $128 million contract, possibly giving them the financial room they need to bring back Draymond Green. Celtics reportedly get Kristaps Porzingis, sending Marcus Smart to Memphis. Tyus Jones goes to the Wizards as part of that 3-team deal. Clippers reportedly taking feelers on Paul George. Knicks said to be a team that's called regarding the 33-year-old 8-time All-Star. NBA draft does come tonight. All eyes on the assumed top overall pick in Victor Wembanyama. He was asked if he thought all this hype was gone too far.
No. I don't let all this stuff get into my head because I got such high expectations for myself that I'm immune to all this stuff. So, no, I really don't care.
Taking a look at baseball, there's one game currently in progress. You got the Padres all over the Giants, 6-0. That's top 4 in San Francisco. Some finals as the Braves win streak is now 8, outlast the Phillies 5-1-10. Guardians down the A's 6-1. D-backs down the Nationals 5-3, and the Twins shut out the Red Sox 6-0. I'm Marco Belletti.
Jim Rome here. Coming up Friday in the Jungle, Eagles All-Pro tackle Lane Johnson plus Alvy's week that was. See you Friday, 12 noon Eastern and 9 Pacific.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, hanging with you on this very, very busy Thursday. We revealed 5 more names on our top 25 athletes since the year 2000. Should I quickly go through the list?
Always.
25, Shaun White. 24, Alexander Ovechkin. 23, Shohei Ohtani. 22, Floyd Mayweather. 21, Clayton Kershaw. 20, Diana Taurasi. 19, Rafael Nadal. 18, Aaron Rodgers. 17, Sidney Crosby. 16, Tim Duncan. 15, Simone Biles. 14, Kobe Bryant. 13, Peyton Manning. 12, Roger Federer. 11, Patrick Mahomes. And the 5 we revealed today: 10, Steph Curry. 9, Michael Phelps. 8, Cristiano Ronaldo. 7, Novak Djokovic. And 6, Usain Bolt. So there we go. We've got 5 more. We will reveal them tomorrow to finish out the week. But let's talk a little more about number 18 on this list. That's our pal, Aaron Rodgers.
What the is Aaron Rodgers up to today?
Now we're back to the Aaron Rodgers we know and love. Not training camp, mini camps, not being on the field for the New York Jets. No. Aaron Rodgers is in Denver for the Psychedelic Science Conference as a keynote speaker. So let's hear a little from Aaron Rodgers at the Psychedelic Science Conference. First, Stu, how he's played better after finding psychedelic drugs.
You know what? It's going to be hard to cancel me because, the previous year, 26 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. We had a good season. Ayahuasca, 48 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. MVP.
Wow. So with all that success, how have other athletes responded to Rodgers?
The response from other people in the sports industry has been pretty incredible to see basketball players and baseball players and surfers and entertainers and my own teammates and colleagues across the league reach out and either share their story about their own medicine journey or ask to be a part of an upcoming one was pretty special.
Told you. I knew this was going to catch on. It's a copycat league, and now everybody's asking Aaron Rodgers about psychedelics, Perloff.
Yeah, he's this is classic, what I call seeking a chemical solution to a spiritual problem. Yeah, I know a lot of people think that they found the right pill to solve all their problems. First of all, I don't know why he needs ayahuasca. The dude's like the second best quarterback of all time.
Well, he's a person with problems, just like anyone else.
It's just my opinion. Pills and drugs and stuff, like they work to some extent, but I think generally they implode at certain points.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I don't think that's a hot take. I'm taking acid to figure out how to be a better quarterback.
Not a sustainable strategy? Is that what you're saying?
He would argue it is. He probably knows more about it than me. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are into microdosing. And there are a lot of people who are saying CBD as a sort of a antidepressant. And yeah, maybe that stuff's all great. It's not for me.
Yeah, I'm just shocked at how far we've come, right?
Yeah.
It was not that long ago, 5 years, maybe 7 years ago, where you got caught smoking weed.
Yeah.
You were suspended. You were fined.
Yeah.
Now we've got the 4-time MVP and surefire first ballot Hall of Famer still playing, still currently active on stage, talking openly about taking psychedelic drugs, which are mostly illegal in this country. I don't think he's doing it in this country. I have no idea. It doesn't matter. But it's like, wow, we have really come a long way here.
Well, I mean, 15 years ago, you could go to jail for a long time for dealing marijuana. And now we're collecting hundreds of $millions in taxes on marijuana. So we're obviously societal too. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Aaron Rodgers, when he talks about this stuff, he sounds like right now he's got it all figured out. I wonder if this is going to be a consistent and lasting cure for whatever ails him. I mean, not that we don't know him, obviously, but I do find that he's such a curious person to me. He's so interesting to talk to that he doesn't get along with his family. I've never understood. I don't want to delve into his personal stuff, but
you never know with family stuff, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, how many people do you know who don't talk to their parents in your entire life? I don't know a single other person except for Aaron Rodgers.
But yeah, that's who knows what's behind the scenes on that. We couldn't even begin to speculate, right? But he's found other family.
Well,
he's found his football family, and I'm sure other friends.
Well, the only reason I'm bringing that up, he's inviting us into his mental life again and again and again. And maybe he's right. I hope he's right, and maybe ayahuasca is the way to go. But again, sounds like a chemical solution to a spiritual problem. And I say that because I've heard of a lot of other wonder drugs. And
none of them are quite so wonderful.
Well, listen, I think our country's had some serious problems with prescription drugs.
Yes.
And I've heard, I don't know, whatever. And then again, I'm not an expert. Some people get a lot out of antidepressants. I feel terrible. So I just hear this. Don't you get a little bit of that? Like, oh, okay.
I think Rodgers is a seeker. And I think there are certain people who like to try to find the answers. Like, what makes me tick? Why am I the way I am? Why is the world the way it is? And then he's got a also unique spin on this because he's so famous. So he's looking at it through a fame angle. I think it's got to be a little bit of a mind, mess with your mind a little to go through this thing of being famous and then also trying to find yourself. So I kind of get how he's arrived here.
Yes, I hear you.
Unlocking some part of your brain or something.
Yeah.
It's not for me either. Not my cup of tea.
If you're going to do a darkness retreat, why don't you go do a 2-week Buddhist monastery or do something that doesn't involve drugs? That's what.
Well, he met the Dalai Lama.
Yeah, and I'm sure it was very transformative. But it doesn't seem like he solved it all yet because he's still seeking.
Still seeking. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, coming up, got so much more for you. The latest rumors on the next big move in the NBA. We've got it for you in just moments. Draft is tonight. Don't forget, Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We hit 1,000 new YouTube subscribers, and that was the deal. Once it got done, we were going to destroy the Carson Wentz poster. All right, Weedos, Purple Drinkers, this is for you.
Yes. Yes.
All right, now Perloff, here you go.
Carson is not crumbled.
Not going down.
Okay, ready? I'm going to go like Office Space and do it the sort of with the other end of the bat.
Oh, yeah. You just give it the rip?
Yeah, rip it.
Rip it.
Maggie can't rip it.
I can't rip it.
All right, let's both of us try.
Okay, here, wait, you try.
This thing is tougher than the actual Carson Wentz.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome to the show, Maggie and Perloff and you on this Thursday. Big news. Golden State Warriors adding a surefire Hall of Famer to the roster. They have traded for Chris Paul. Going out, goodbye, Jordan Poole. Him and his contract are now headed to Washington, D.C., along with 2 picks that are much in the future. First-round pick in 2030, and a second-round pick in 2027. Also, pick swaps on the way. So that was a big blockbuster today.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's whet my appetite for even bigger deals. Chris Paul, we knew that was just going to be a stop in Washington. I did not see the Warriors being part of this.
I didn't either. And the first thing that comes to mind has got to be with Jordan Poole exiting the Golden State Warriors. This has got to be an overture, I think, to Draymond Green. Clearly, they want Draymond back. He must have had an issue with Poole enough to sucker punch him in the face. It never got right between the two of them. Steve Kerr admitted as much after the season was done. And now Jordan Poole is gone, and I think they're telling Draymond, we said we want you. Here's our actions showing you we want you.
Definitely. It makes perfect sense. The thing is, though, they have to add one more piece because you have Chris Paul here. He's 38. Your championship window is now.
Right,
it's
now.
Year. It's
yes.
this year, so they have no front court players at all. They have Draymond. And they can't match the Lakers in size. They can't match the Nuggets. They're not even close to the Nuggets. And they probably can't even match the Suns in size. So something else has to come along.
So we'll keep our eye on that because that was a big one today. Overnight, you had one trade that fell through, but ultimately what the Celtics wanted, they got, which is Kristaps Porzingis. So Porzingis also traded from D.C. to Boston. So now a team that does try to get some size with the 7'3" Porzingis. They sent out Marcus Smart. They send him, longtime Celtic, 9 years with the Celtics, send him to Memphis. Now let's talk about the Celtics part about it for a second, which is the Celtics now have the same odds, tied with the Nuggets for championship.
Plus 475 to win it all.
Next year. The idea that they'd add Porzingis and make them a title contender, like more of a title contender than they already are, is a little shocking to me considering Porzingis has been hurt basically every year except for his rookie year, the second year, and last year.
I totally get it. They were definitely lacking something last year. We saw they fell 3-0 to Miami. Yeah, Smart, I said it last hour. I thought Smart had lost his step. And here's the thing. As my Sixers fan thread on my phone, that Boston front office is so smart, Maggie, that I think a lot of NBA people give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, they must see something that we don't.
Well, Derek White, they traded for him last year, and this was they are going to pay Jaylen Brown, it looks like. So you're getting a little crowded there in that backcourt, and I think they liked Derek White playing in crunch time minutes over Marcus Smart playing in crunch time minutes, perhaps. And then on the Memphis side of this quickly, Memphis was looking for a veteran player who could show everyone else on the team sort of how to be professional, who was going to have a loud voice in the locker room, and who people were going to respect. And I think they found it with Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart, while he doesn't have a championship to his credit, the Celtics were incredibly successful. He's that tough guy who is on the court, going to be an instigator and, sort of be that borderline dirty player type, hustle guy. And maybe off the court can show this young team a thing or two about how to act like pros.
Oh, God, I can't stand Marcus Smart. I'm just going to say that. Am I allowed to say that?
Am I wrong, though?
I have no idea off the court.
He's never been in any trouble as far as we know. I mean,
I don't. Do you know anything about him?
Takes care of his business. I know the very touching sentiment to his mother, who passed away and died of cancer, and he dyes his hair for her.
He's the worst flopper in the NBA. And he's actually been in the news because he commented, the NBA said, we're going to come down hard on flopping next year. And he's a technical machine. So he's a much smarter player than Dylan Brooks. So he's perfect for these Grizzlies. I totally agree. I don't know about any of the influence stuff. It's kind of hard to predict what happens in the locker room. But he's incredibly tough. He killed the Sixers. He always comes up with the right play at the right time. And he's completely annoying. When I say I hate him, I almost mean that as a tribute to him. Because he's the most annoying player. He just knows how to take a charge when it'll kill you. The problem is, I think he got too slow. The Celtics, they don't have speed. That's one thing. So if you come in there with the Heat just ran circles around them. They brought in all these two guards and outside guys, and Boston had nothing to do against him. So I don't know why Porzingis is the answer to that.
Well, I mean, listen, long ago before, Wembanyama was the unicorn, Porzingis was the unicorn. At 7'3", how he could be offensively. He could also hit threes. He can block shots. And he's not bad on the defensive side. Porzingis is not bad.
Okay. Say you're Miami, though. You're probably going to target him to get him on a pick and roll. But I like it a lot. And I think if they do advance to the finals somehow, Porzingis is at least partially an answer to Jokic.
We will see. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. So while that is also going on, we also have Victor Wembanyama. Samter, you look like you want to say something.
Yeah, there was something I wanted to add real quickly that I think is really interesting. We were talking, obviously, about like the teams that mattered in this trade and not necessarily the Wizards. And we've been questioning, like, what are the Wizards doing and, like, what's their future, what's their plan moving forward? Well, this is actually really interesting because we talked about this with the Live Saudi deal. It turns out the Qatar Investment Authority is buying a minority stake in the Washington Wizards and Capitals' parent Monumental Sports and Entertainment Company. It's the first time a major U.S. sports team is going to be owned by partially a foreign entity, which is now Qatar. So I wonder if the trades or the moves that are being made were known based off of this new investment group coming in from a Middle Eastern nation. And we talked about this with the Saudi money and Live, whether it's going to get into the NBA or any of the four major sports. Right. Well, here we are.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, but wait.
Well, I don't think they have a say in the Kristaps Porzingis trade.
Well, no, but I wonder if any of the deals were made knowing here we have this new money coming in, we have this new ownership group coming in that's buying a minority stake. I wonder if there's some level of thinking of the future when they're making these moves.
But sorry, I didn't hear the end of that. You said they were buying a major sports team, though. What about, so which one? I understand they're investing in the Wizards.
Yeah, the Capitals.
Is there another team out there?
Disrespect the Capitals.
Capitals won a cup recently.
The Washington Mystics are, probably the third or fourth best team in the WNBA right now. So,
that counts for something.
But, it is interesting that there was like a small detail in the new NBA collective bargaining agreement that sovereign entities could buy in now to teams, and boy, that didn't take long. So it looks like they are going to have a roughly 5% stake in this Monumental Sports and Entertainment Group. So that's the parent company of all these Washington sports teams. They're buying a 5% stake for $4 billion.
I can't imagine these numbers are right.
$4 billion for a 5% stake in Monumental Sports and Entertainment, which also has a streaming service, other investments. They own the arena in Washington as
so it's
well.
not like they're buying the Wizards for $4 billion. They're buying a stake in this gigantic
5%
entertainment
of $4
company.
billion, so that means this entertainment company is worth is $80 billion?
I can't imagine that's true. The valuation of that, that's like Shark Tank, where they're like, I don't know if that adds up.
When they're sitting around with the Saudi Arabians and like, hey, what'd you do? We just bought the PGA Tour. What did you buy? The Wizards. They're like, oh, okay. I don't know if they got into the big boy room with this purchase. I'm sorry.
Well, but the point is interesting, which is this is another country that has, listen, maybe, I don't know, I'm not like a expert in geopolitics here, maybe not to the extent of Saudi Arabia, but still has some of the similar things. I mean, when the World Cup went there, all the migrant workers who died building those stadiums, it was horrific, atrocious, should have never happened. Obviously, their, view on women, homosexuals, all the things that really don't line up with the values of the United States, where people are free to express themselves, and also freedom of the press and other things that does not fly in Qatar.
Yeah, I mean, isn't there a lawsuit about the Saudi investment into the PGA is being held up by authorities, too, who want to look at that very
the State
issue.
Department, right?
So I wonder if there'll be some of that
Congress.
with this as well, where they'll step back and say, I think Qatar will be okay, though, because of maybe it was the World Cup experience. But, the number is crazy. $4 billion for 5% of this organization.
That's what I'm reading on Yahoo. So
I'm reading the same number on ESPN.com.
So this is the first time, any sovereign wealth fund has brought into ownership in an American team. Obviously, we know they basically bought the PGA Tour with the Saudi investment fund, but this is an American team. The first time,
I'm just
according
curious.
to this article.
What else is in that sale? Because the Phoenix Suns sold for $4 billion. So for the same price of the entire Suns, you can get 5% of the Wizards whole thing. That just seems small.
I think it's more you're buying into the sports group, and they have multiple holdings, and I don't know how they get to that valuation either, but they also own Capital City Go-Go of the NBA G League. So there you go.
Well, there it is.
They own NBC Sports Washington. That's now Monumental Sports Network.
I mean, honestly, we could put together cash on this side of the glass to buy a regional
Not
sports
on this
network.
side of the glass.
I mean, this is obviously if you follow the sports media, it's a terrible time for regional sports networks. Yeah. Anyway,
they're the new newspapers if you need the cliff notes on that.
So, but that's really interesting. And NHL obviously is a very international sport as well. We're not even talking about foreign investment in that, because I assume that that's going to happen as well. I know the Winnipeg Jets are for sale. I think we could also buy that.
I don't think so. 855-212-4CBS. Maybe your friend Nate could. 855-212-4227. Nate Thompson, our guest.
Yeah, he played for Winnipeg last year. We were actually just talking about the Winnipeg Jets sale because we have a friend with a lot of money who you know.
I do know him.
We can't say any names, but we jokingly...
Does he want to buy a hockey team?
Well, he was approached about buying the Winnipeg Jets, and the hockey teams are not very valuable right now.
Oh. Your friend's Canadian, right?
He is Canadian.
Yeah, okay.
So, anyway, my point is the Capitals, I don't know how much value that added to the deal. Wow. So, NBA, NHL, PGA, really what's left is MLB.
Yes, MLB.
NFL, college sports, which is different because the colleges are there. Yeah, this is it's happening quickly.
This is definitely happening quickly. And it's interesting because it's not just going to be Saudi Arabia, obviously. You're going to talk about Qatar. You're going to talk about other countries. I mean, Qatar really, with the World Cup, that was the ultimate.
Yeah.
That's the grandest stage you're going to get as far as from a global perspective.
So, obviously, there's already been China has been heavily involved with the NBA.
Yeah.
The Alibaba and the Nets, right? Or not Alibaba, Josiah and the Nets. So, which he was technically, I think he's part American, but...
No, he's Canadian.
Oh, okay.
He's Chinese-Canadian.
Chinese-Canadian, right. So, listen, it's not totally foreign to have foreign money in the sports, but this could be the beginning of, once that dam breaks, there could be a lot. I still maintain, and we kind of argued about this last week, that the NFL will be the last holdout, because I don't think the foreign owners even understand American football or care at all about it. They're really into basketball. They're really into golf. I don't think that anybody knows in Qatar who the Patriots are.
You think in Saudi Arabia they're really into basketball?
Yes. Saudi Arabia is huge into basketball. I was just reading about that.
Okay, but see, I don't think it has anything to do with the actual sport. It's about the sport. It's the influence that the sport buys you.
I don't think so. I think that there's all these stories when they finished the PGA deal. All the Saudi organizers were on the golf course. They are obsessed with golf.
Okay, so they're rich men. Probably on a golf course somewhere, but I don't think it has anything to do with that. If they had an avenue to buy an NFL team, I think they're buying it. Yes, After.
Our buddy Jonathan Jones, we're talking about, maybe getting into the NFL. Well, Jonathan Jones tweeted out, spoke to one high-ranking NFL team executive earlier this week who said the league is at least a couple decades away from ever allowing foreign governments to own part or all of a team.
They're just saying that.
Yeah. So by a couple decades, I mean, what, 2027?
Yeah. Things move quickly around here. I'm not doubting Jonathan's reporting. I just am calling BS on the sentiment. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, so that's pretty interesting. Coming up, the NBA draft just a few hours away. So what do we know about any of these prospects beyond Victor Wembanyama? What'd you call him?
Victor Wembanyama.
Wow.
It's French for this guy has not done anything yet.
It's French for this guy. I don't know about this guy. 855-212-4CBS. We'll get a little more into the draft. We'll break down some of the prospects next. Don't move. Maggie, Perloff, you on CBS Sports Radio on this very fine Thursday.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. All right, we're 6 to 10 on our top 25 athletes since 2000. It's getting real. Maggie, we have an international flair today.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go through a couple on the list before we reveal today. We did put Shohei Ohtani 23 on the list. We left off Mike Trout, Diana Taurasi at 20. We had Aaron Rodgers at 18, just going through some of these. Tim Duncan at 16. We did not put Shaq on this list. 14 is Kobe. We put Peyton Manning at 13 and Mahomes at 11. So we put Mahomes over Peyton Manning. We put Curry at 10. Steph Curry, that was revealed today. So he goes over Kobe Bryant and Tim Duncan. This is best athletes, greatest athletes since the year 2000. And then today was 10 Curry, 9 Michael Phelps, 8 Cristiano Ronaldo, 7 Novak Djokovic, 6 Usain Bolt. If you want to get the full list up until now, Samter, why don't we tweet that out, if you don't mind, at Maggie and Pearl, just the list from 25 to 6. So if you'd like to check out our whole list, you can go check that right now. Okay, Let's turn our attention to tonight's NBA draft, and that's where we turn to Adam Finkelstein, CBS Sports HQ NBA draft analyst. Adam, thanks so much for the time. Busy day for you. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you. Perloff has come up with a new nickname for Victor Wembanyama. Do you want to tell Adam what it is?
I'm not telling Adam that. I might have jokingly called him Wembanyama because I'm not sold on him like everybody else. Why does everyone think this 7'4" skinny guy is automatically going to take over the NBA, Adam?
Well, he's 7'5" now, if that makes a difference. It's just, this is what I've said pretty consistently the last few weeks. He's just totally unprecedented. We've never seen the overlap of this size, this length. I mean, an 8-foot wingspan, so he's not just tall, but he's massively long. Along with the agility and the athleticism, I mean, he moves as if he's 6'5", and then offensive skill to make three-pointers off of one leg, and then just utter defensive dominance because of the way in which he can cover the court. So that overlap of just sheer talent is unlike anything we've ever seen before. Now, to your point, because it is totally unprecedented, you have concerns that we've never had before because we've never seen a body type like this. We don't know how it will hold up and whether or not it'll be able to withstand the physicality of an 82-game regular season.
Well, Adam, everyone says he hits one-legged threes, but he shot 27% from three, and I was shocked. Last year he shot 47% from the field, and Maggie and I were laughing. I'm like, he could just drop the ball in the basket. Isn't that number a little low for somebody that tall?
Yeah, I think it is. I think, one of the things that's interesting about him is if you really dig into his tape, he's not necessarily the guy that you give the ball to in isolation situations and just say, okay, big fella, go to work. Because he's so tall, his dribble is so high, it's hard to get by people. So I actually think that his defense is going to be ahead of his offense. The comparison and, some of the just hyperbole around this guy right now is just crazy. The comparison that I like to make is a bigger Anthony Davis, someone who's had his own share of injury concerns and durability issues over the year, but who is, when he is healthy, a dominant defender and kind of most comfortable offensively when he can be the second option. Certainly there are stretches there where he can be the focal point offensively, but at his best, he's someone who is, kind of your 1B option offensively. And if Wembanyama ended up being that, I don't think it would be shocking. But again, you're talking about someone who very possibly, if he stays healthy, has all the tools to be as good of a defender as there is in the NBA.
Adam Finkelstein joining us, CBS Sports HQ NBA draft analyst. The draft starts 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. All right, Adam, between Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller, we've kind of seen both mocked to go second or third. Who's better? Do you see it as one clearly better than the other? And if so, how big of a gap?
No, I do not see it that way. In fact, I think it's pretty reasonable that Charlotte is going down to the wire with this pick because I think that these are two players that are very different, and depending on what you value, you could come out to get different conclusions. Miller has an overlap of positional size, is a legitimate 6'9" wing, and tremendous shot-making ability, not just from behind the three-point line like we saw last year at Alabama, but also in the mid-range area, which was really his game in high school. What he does not do is he does not finish at the rim. Statistically speaking, he's a very poor finisher at the rim, and he's light and in need of muscle, and also a year older than most one-and-done freshmen. So, you can't really just say, he just turned 18 years old. That's not the case. So those are the concerns with Brandon. With Scoot, you have a dynamic athlete. I mean, very much in the Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook, Baron Davis type category. I'm not saying he's necessarily going to be as good as those players, but he is that caliber of athlete. The problem with him is that he is not a reliable shooter. So you look at it and you say, okay, is he ever going to be able to make threes? Is he going to be, kind of too willing to take dribble pull-ups? And then on top of that, for someone who is kind of being marketed as this elite competitor, he has too many moments defensively where frankly, he's uncompetitive. And when you're 6'2", regardless of how long and strong you may be, and he's both of those things, you have to have a lot of fight on the defensive end of the floor, especially if he ends up in Charlotte playing for a guy like Steve Clifford, who's very old school on the defensive end of the floor.
Adam, if you're Charlotte or you're Portland, you have a couple issues with Scoot Henderson. In Charlotte, you have LaMelo Ball, hopefully they're healthy. And in Portland, you might have Damian Lillard. How do you sort of reconcile drafting Scoot Henderson when you already have a scoring point guard?
So this is what I would say, is that history does not remember the teams who draft based on fit well. Remember LaMelo Ball, Golden State had a chance to draft him. They took James Wiseman instead, and the rationale was that he was a better fit next to Steph and Klay Thompson. Well, history doesn't remember that rationalization as valid. It just remembers it as a bad reasoning. And there's a lot of different examples of that as well. So I think it's really important at that high level in the draft that you just take the best available prospect, because 5 years from now, that's all we're going to remember is who's better. In terms of the fit, again, I don't think it should be the deciding factor, but I think for Portland, the fit is better because Portland's in a situation where they're trying to rebuild and simultaneously have Dame Lillard finish his career there. He wants to win now, but the reality is even if they traded this pick and got another major asset in return, you're probably still not a championship caliber team. But if you can get Scoot, now you have an ideal mentor for him in Dame Lillard. You pair Scoot with Shaedon Sharpe, who you drafted last year, and you have two very high-level young building blocks, and basically your rebuild is already off to a great start, and you got that without having to trade Dame Lillard. You re-signed Jeremy Grant. You're in a position where you can potentially contend for the playoffs next year. You've already got two high-level young assets, so like I said, the rebuild is in good shape. And that's relevant even from a revenue standpoint because now your fan base is engaged. They're buying tickets. All of that stuff matters in the business of professional basketball. So I actually think Scoot to the Blazers would work out really nicely for Portland.
Well, we're on in Portland right now, so we know that would be music to their ears. We've already had callers today really hoping and praying that Scoot does fall to number 3 of the Blazers. Adam Finkelstein, CBS Sports HQ NBA draft analyst, is joining us for a few minutes to talk about tonight's prospects. Obviously, it's always fun when you get a pair of twins. The Thompson twins, comes along after, the Morris twins and the Lopez twins. How good are these two?
These two are, candidly, they are very talented, but they have more risk. They have a very high upside. Both of them, it's realistic to hope that they could become NBA All-Stars one day, but there are scenarios where they don't work out to the same extent. And this is the uncomfortable part of this process that nobody wants to talk about, is we meaning the media, phrase most of these things like everybody who gets picked in the lottery tonight is going to be a sure thing. But history shows us that that is not the case, is that 1, 2, maybe 3 of these kids will not work out. The Thompson brothers, especially Amen, they really do not shoot the ball very well at all. And so that is going to be a key variable. Amen Thompson they're both actually 6'6" without shoes, 6'11" wingspan. They are long. They are incredible athletes. I mean, Amen Thompson, one of the best athletes in the NBA from his first day in the league. But because he's such a non-shooter, he's going to have to play with the ball in his hands. Now, he's shown potential, shown a lot of passing ability, but is he a true point guard? Not necessarily. So, again, you've got someone who's built like a wing, incredible athlete, great length, but he's going to play as kind of a lead guard, a lead creator. Sarr's a little bit different. He'll be off the ball, a little bit of a better shooter, or at least has shown more progress in the last 6 months, so he does not necessarily need the ball in his hands. But I think that's the biggest difference. They're both more high-risk, high-reward type prospects. Amen projects more as like an athletic, big lead guard, whereas Sarr is going to be more off the ball and could really stand out on the defensive end of the floor.
Okay, Adam, last one from me. Grady Dick obviously was a big high school star, but watching Kansas last year, it didn't strike me as a top 10 pick level player, but now I'm seeing him in the top 10 in a lot of mock drafts or right around there. What does he project as? Where do you stand on him?
I think what you see is after you get outside of like the first 7 or 8, I think teams' chances of thinking they have all-star potential with their picks, it becomes a really low probability. So at that point in time, you're just trying to find value. And in today's NBA, shot making, especially when it's coupled with positional size, comes at a premium. So Grady Dick has good size in the wing. He is, in my opinion, one of the 3 best shooters in this draft, along with Miller and Jordan Hawkins from UConn. and he does have that solid positional size on the wing. So even if he is just a role player and never develops into a focal point offensively, which candidly I don't think he will, there's still a path for him to be a long-time successful pro, potentially a starter. And when you start to, again, from a historical context, look at what the average return on is on like the 10th, 11th, 12th pick, a multi-year NBA starter actually is pretty decent value at that spot. Because, again, somebody's going to miss. There's going to be somebody between 4 and 15, maybe 2, 3, 4 people that aren't going to work out at all. Grady Dick is someone who may not have that high ceiling, but he has a very high floor because he has a projectable role right away in the NBA.
Adam, can't tell you how much we appreciate this. Adam Finkelstein, CBS Sports HQ NBA draft analyst. I should mention you can watch CBS Sports HQ's coverage of the NBA draft beginning at 7 p.m. tonight, where Adam and the CBS Sports crew will provide instant pick analysis and break down the storylines all night long. Of course, CBS Sports HQ, the 24/7 streaming sports network, is available free on connected TVs and mobile via the CBS Sports app and CBSSports.com. Have fun with the draft tonight, Adam, and thanks so much for the time.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
He's on your side, Maggie, with the don't draft for fit. Draft for talent. I was channeling Maggie Gray there. I liked it.
Well, nobody needs to know that more than Portland. I'm not trying to rub it in their faces, but obviously picking Michael Jordan because you had Clyde Drexler goes down as one of the all-time, doing bad moves.
Okay, that being said, they built a great team around Clyde Drexler. If Jordan wasn't in the NBA, that team would have won a title for sure.
True.
They were
awesome. That was an excellent team.
So I'm not going to kill Portland for that. Yeah, that's a great point, but still there is that reality. You have Damian Lillard with about 2 years on that championship window, and you're bringing in a very young Scoot Henderson. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
It's not the ideal fit, but you know what? Adam said it, and you said it. I've changed my mind.
I just
do not draft for fit.
I don't know if he's going to be there. I just also want to be fair to the reports that are saying that Dame doesn't want any part of another 19-year-old on the team. And is this
so? If they do pick at number 3, they take the pick. Do we get a report later that Dame wants out?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be put that way because he's been so careful about the wording, but I think it's like a mutual parting of the ways. I think that's coming,
Yeah.
The team and the star are mutually deciding to part ways.
You know why I liked Adam? He's the first NBA draft analyst I've heard in a while say, just remember.
They're not going to be good.
They're not going to be good. Yes, I've watched tonight. I want to see a single missed jump shot in any highlight. Just show me a brick.
This guy sucks.
Show me a brick, just one.
No, you're celebrating the sport tonight, so you're not going to get that. But I appreciated his honesty about the Thompson twins, just saying, listen, it's a scoring league and they don't score.
Well, you might remember Mel Kiper ripped Trev Alberts famously in the draft when the Colts picked him really high. I want that. I want more of that from the NBA draft analysts because it's very hard with all these 19-year-olds and all these foreign players. Feels harder than ever to nail the number 8 pick. But we hear nothing. Oh, this guy has got potential through the roof.
It's all about upside. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. See you guys on the phones. We'll get to you more on our top 25 athletes since the year 2000. Plus, got some updates coming out of San Francisco about the whole quarterback situation. So we'll get to that as well. A lot more to do after this CBS Sports Update with Marco Belletti.
Sports Flash.
All right, guys, Warriors a big move, reportedly shipping Jordan Poole and his 4-year contract at $128 million to the Wizards, along with 4 first-round pick swaps and 6 second-rounders. That in exchange for Chris Paul. Now, Paul gets a shot at a winner while also relieving some financial issues to possibly retain Draymond Green. Keep in mind the punch with Green and Poole before last season, which they admitted afterwards had an adverse effect on the entire locker room all year. Celtics getting things started, reportedly landed Kristaps Porzingis in the 3-team deal with the Grizzlies and Wizards, with Marcus Smart going to Memphis. NBA draft, of course, comes tonight. Victor Wembanyama taking the spotlight. He'll all but certainly go first overall, and he's more than thrilled that pick belongs to the Spurs.
I was just thinking I was feeling lucky that they got the pick as a franchise that has that culture and that experience in winning and in creating good players, So I really can't wait.
Baseball, you got the Padres all over the Giants, 10-0 in the 7th. Manny Machado, Gary Sanchez have homered. Finals, Braves handle the Phillies 5-1-10. Guardians 6, A's 1. D-backs handle the Nationals 5-3, and the Twins shut out the Red Sox 6-0. I'm Marco Belletti.
CBS Sports is everywhere, at home, in your car, and of course on your phone and tablet. Find us on your local affiliate, Sirius XM Channel 158, or the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on this Thursday. We'll get you your draft fashion update in just a moment as the young men are arriving on the red carpet. But we got to go to the phones at 855-212-4CBS. Now, Bruce is calling from California, wants to weigh in on our top 25 greatest athletes since the year 2000. Quickly, Bruce, before we talk to you, we revealed 5 more athletes today. Steph Curry at 10, Michael Phelps at 9, Cristiano Ronaldo at 8, Novak Djokovic at 7, Usain Bolt at 6. We will reveal 5 through 1 coming up on tomorrow's show. And if you want to see the full list, just go to Maggie and Pearl on Twitter right now. Bruce, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. How are you guys doing?
Excellent.
You're doing it. I have loved this list. I've listened since Monday. It's really amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a question about how do we decipher an athlete. When we say Perloff had said, is Djokovic a better athlete than Durant?
Right.
Great question.
And in my opinion, I think Djokovic would be a better athlete if we're looking at stamina. I have to play a five-set tournament, 5-set match that could take 5 hours.
Right.
Grant's going to be on there for 60 minutes most if you have a double overtime, and he's great. Shooting a basketball is fantastic, but stamina, what do we decipher between stamina?
Man, Bruce, it is such a good question, and it's not just, and I like the Djokovic and the Durant talk because, you know, the average tennis point lasts like 20 seconds. So you're kind of like, it's high intensity, but for not a lot of time. But yes, you could be on the court for 5 hours if you have a 5-set match in a major, whereas Durant could play 35 minutes a game. But it's constant, for the most part. You're basically running the whole time.
But then, like in an argument, if I go down to Boca Raton, Florida, and there's a bunch of 77-year-olds
They're
playing
not
tennis.
playing 5-set matches
But they're
against
still
the
playing
greatest in the world.
Yes, but it is a sport that skews old.
Okay,
and you know
but
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I can also go to the YMCA on a Saturday morning and see a basketball run. I don't think that looks like Kevin Durant and what he's doing. Of course, you can play till you're older. I think the bigger question is, like, we have Usain Bolt on the list at 6. That's high. He's running 100 meters. He's running 200 meters. Now, he's the fastest in the world at it, but that's not lateral quickness. That's not jumping.
There's
it's
no
just
ball.
running straight ahead.
I totally agree. As far as the stamina thing, though, I just looked up the quote because I love it so much. Our friend Kenny Powers at Eastbound and Down said it the best. I play real sports not trying to be the best at exercising.
Yes, I
ripping
know.
marathon runners. So I think stamina is part of it, but it's kind of lower down for me.
Well, for stamina, I think Michael Phelps, I mean, you try to swim in an Olympic-sized swimming pool like that.
But it's a bit of, you're right, it's a sprint, though. For
But
most
he's doing
of those
multiple distances.
Yeah, and most of those are pretty close to sprints the way they do them now. Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
And what do you do with Simone Biles? Well, how long is a floor routine? 4 minutes? But none of us are doing that. That's
I got to tell you, I put Michael Phelps lower on the list than like a great basketball player because that stamina is less valuable than ungodly talent. The fact that Michael Jordan could jump 45 inches in the air, to me, is more impressive than you're in better shape than the other swimmers.
Okay, I think that if we were going on just strictly athleticism, doesn't Ohtani have to be like number 1? Because think about in his sport, he's doing 2 diametrically opposite things where he is pitching and he is hitting. That is like as far
Get out of here.
on the other side of the spectrum as possible.
And most baseball players who are really, really good hitters are also really good at throwing a baseball. It's not totally opposite. It's not like he's hitting a golf ball and I don't know, dunking a basketball. They're similar. I mean,
Okay. How about for stamina? How about Floyd Mayweather? Do you know that?
Yeah, I'm not into stamina.
But this is the equation that I've heard from boxers. Every second you are in the ring is an hour in the gym.
Yeah,
Every
ice hockey's
second in the
crazy
ring.
too. Ice hockey's crazy too. But then again, you know what I'm going to take Michael Jordan just because he's not on the list. Because none of those guys are the athlete that Michael Jordan was, in my opinion.
Let's go to Charlie is in Vancouver, Washington, wants to talk about Victor Wembanyama, who's the likely number 1 draft choice tonight. Hey, Charlie.
Okay, I feel like I'm always picking on McLovin, so I'm going to say I agree that Victor is not going to be the man, at least early on, and not the man ever, because it's not the NBA now. He's never going to be able to post anybody up. It just doesn't happen when you're that small or that wiry and that skinny. That's not going to be part of your game. And if three-pointers are going to be his game, dude, yeah, other coaches would be saying, let him shoot. 27%? I mean, talk about a highlight to society that we live in. If we're highlighting his one-footed three-pointers, again, things that kill me, when coaches see that, that's not a good shot ever. And it's 7-5, okay. I remember Ralph Sampson, and he did not dominate in the pros like he did in college. And to me, the difference between what Wembanyama is at now and is going to is a difference between what college and pros was, close to at least back then. And also, when I think of how short memories we have to have, what about Chet Holmgren?
I know.
I mean, couldn't we even see real quick that he wasn't going to be a dominant force defensively in the NBA like he was in the college? It doesn't translate because it's not a drive league anymore. It's shoot threes.
Yeah.
And
Charlie, you're right. I mean, Chet Holmgren didn't even make it to training camp, or not even make it to the regular season. Pardon me. Charlie, thank you so much for the phone call. Perloff, you've been skeptical, on Wembanyama from the outset.
Yes, I have, and those are great points. If he's going to be an outside shooter, then why do you need to be 7'5"? There's a lot of guys who can hit outside shots. But can I talk about one trend that we've been noticing?
What's that?
If you agree with me and you want to call into the show, you don't have to say, regrettably, I agree with you. You don't have to say, usually I agree with Maggie, but this one time I agree with Andrew. Just agree with me. It's fine. You don't have to say that this is such a shocking occurrence that you might have the same opinion on something. It's not like I'm out there and if out of 100 takes, only one of them you like, Charlie, what the heck?
It's everyone apologizes before they agree with you. I'm so sorry to do this, but I have to agree with Perloff.
Yeah. Well, like just once in a while, be like,
it's painful.
Can't someone call in and say, I always agree with Perloff? Someone who's not related to me, preferably.
It is, it does seem like people have to put a caveat in front of it. Like, listen, I don't usually do this. This is not me. But today, I gotta agree with Perloff on this one.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of people call in and agree, but randomly. So all these occurrences are the one time you agree with me.
Yeah. It's funny how that works.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't mind. It's just call. Whatever. If you agree with me, it makes me feel even better, even if it's a once in a lifetime occurrence.
It's a Halley's Comet situation.
Yeah. They're like, you're not gonna believe this. I agree with Perloff. What?
No, I think it's someone. It's like, man, I really agree with Perloff. I should probably pick up the phone and call. This might never happen again. I should probably call them.
It's like seeing the Northern Lights.
It's amazing. 855-2124-CBS. If you do want to call, let's get to our shot of the day.
He shoots!
And the shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is brought to you by those who drink it. Gonna go out on a limb here. Probably gonna be a lot of Casamigos tonight with the draft. Oh, no, everyone's 19. Sorry. Casamigos for their families.
And the fans of teams.
Yes,
and the people. Have you ever done an NBA draft drinking game? Where every time Jay Billis says length that you drink. So that would be a lot of Casamigos.
Yeah, I feel like there should be a disclaimer in front of a game like that. High upside, high ceiling. Take a shot. Today's shot of the day, snapshot of the show, if you will. Perloff's got a new nickname for Victor Wembanyama. While everybody in the world is getting excited about this new freakish athlete, Victor Wembanyama, Perloff is already being negative about this.
You mean Wembanyama? Is that who you're talking about? I looked into the numbers. I'm like, man, this guy must have really dominated. He shot 47% from the field, and dude's 7'5" in Europe. I could shoot 47%.
What'd you call him? Wembanyama?
Wembanyama.
That's not right. That's being too harsh. But
he's tall, Nick Claxton. Show me another 7'5" guy who's worked out. It's rare. It's hard.
Wembanyama.
I also love, too, that you cut it out. Maggie goes, nobody knows who Nick Claxton is. That's so true. The Nets, like, sometimes center.
You needed a better comp. Yeah. Anyway, but you're right about he does look like Nick Claxton.
Skinny Roy Hibbert, that's one that's out there.
Yeah, Skinny Roy Hibbert. You're going to also stretch people's imagination with that.
By the way...
Okay.
Doesn't part of you want him to be just the best player of all time?
I want him to be the best.
Just to keep pulling that sound when I said this?
I want to get a Wembanyama shirt, and I want it to be ironic.
Wembanyama?
Let's get a quick fashion update for the folks out there. So the young men are arriving on the red carpet. Now, talk about a comp. Scoot Henderson's outfit looks like...
the Three Amigos.
It's so right.
The scene at the end when all three of them dress up.
I'm wondering where I could place it. I'm like, it's like an old Western bedazzled Three Amigos. That's it.
He's got the big shoulders. Yeah. He looks great.
If he was wearing a sombrero, it really would have brought everything together like Steve Martin and Chevy Chase and Martin Short.
Yeah, there's 3 hours left. Maybe he'll sport the sombrero when he goes on stage.
Instead of it just being white on the suit like the Three Amigos, it's diamonds, which makes it a little updated.
The Three Amigos had diamonds. It was just fake diamonds.
Did they have diamonds?
I don't know. It was very sparkly.
Yeah, I guess so. Great movie that Stu hasn't seen.
Definitely.
Also, Derek Lively from Duke.
He's wearing a Hugh Hefner smoking jacket.
Yeah.
It was like maroon and velour.
It looked like it was, like a velvet velour kind of maroon with a black, lapels.
It looked cool. He's from Philly, by the way, Derek Lively. When you're 7'1", it's hard to be fashionable. There's not a lot of clothes.
Yeah, you're not buying off the rack, is what you're telling me?
Well, remember...
I think Wembanyama's got a cool outfit on, though. It's kind of like a teal, greenish... maybe not teal. It's not like the Dolphins. It's a little more like a hunter green, maybe.
And do we know, is this their final outfit, or is there another change before the actual getting on stage?
Is there an outfit change before?
I have no idea.
No, I think this is too close for outfit change. Right, I think outfit change is probably like, maybe at 10 o'clock they're doing some media and then outfit change.
Outfit change? What is this, a wedding? It's an outfit change. It's not
these
Taylor
guys probably
Swift.
have 9 outfits. They have an outfit change for after the draft to go party tonight. They have an outfit for tomorrow, and then they're going to have a colored outfit for whatever team. They probably have 9 different outfits for whatever team might draft them.
Okay, well, tomorrow you're going to have a different outfit because it's another day. But tonight, I don't know. Whatever happened to just your outfit being the outfit you wear for the night?
Well,
we've all traveled together. I don't think any of us have done one outfit for any of these road trips. I always have like 3 outfits a day. I got my show outfit, I got my lunch outfit, and then I got my night outfit.
And you wear NBA draft you have a lot of bling on. You might have a bow tie. You never know with Samter.
Samter, Beyonce. Same. Thank you, Mike Samter. Thank you to Kovac. Thank you to John Wertheim, who joined us, to Adam Finkelstein, who joined us. Enjoy the draft tonight. Don't forget, Chris Paul was traded to the Warriors today. What about that? Wild. See you tomorrow. We'll finish out our top 25 greatest athletes since 2000. Don't miss it.